report 231-5012, last of Felix Moreno.
10-4.
Civil 11-10-8.
11 cup 10-8.
Channel, please. Joel, Encore 210.
Encore 227.
082, can you update 415?
Control, I'm Jet 2. Change my location. I'm going to be going to the mission on Sumner.
Mission on Sumner. Blade, where the... What's the reaction? Tech 19, seems to see for 7. Tech 19, copy.
Civil. What David 2? For a 10.
Control 1 Tech 9, you can show 1019, 10-8 out handle.
Question advising transporter from Just Court Galera to 9 your ID only.
Tom 24, 24.
Tom 24, 10-4.
States, the job they're doing, what we inherited from this past administration is like disgraceful. In a matter of weeks, the task force has made the largest number of arrests of cartel leaders, operatives, and gang members in American history, more than 3,000 and counting. That includes members of the ultra-violent New Generation Cartel, the Sinaloa Cartel, the LNFM Cartel, MS-13 Cartel, and you know MS-13, the gang, and Tren de Aragua, another beauty. That's a group of real garbage we have to deal with, that we shouldn't have to deal with. These are, in addition to the massive numbers of dangerous criminals my administration arrested nationwide since January 20th, numbering over 120,000. It's a record, and 120,000 criminal arrests. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, for 4 long years before I took office, the last administration allowed the cartels and their operatives to frankly take over our country, to freely infiltrate America and all the communities nationwide. Along with transnational gangs, these groups have unleashed more bloodshed and killing on American soil than all other terrorist groups combined. These are the worst of the worst. It should now be clear to the entire world that the cartels are the ISIS of the Western Hemisphere, in addition to their monstrous violence, such as cutting off heads, burning their enemies alive, and burning innocent people alive, too, by the way. The cartels control large swaths of territory. They maintain vast arsenals of weapons and soldiers, and they use extortion, murder, kidnapping to exercise political and economic control. Thank you very much, Joe Biden, for allowing Biden surrendered. He just surrendered our country to the cartels. Don't worry, we're taking it gets better. We're taking it back.
Gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Really fast at levels that nobody's ever seen before. But what we had to put up with, what we inherited, was just a disgrace. And while Biden was president, if he was president, I think the autopen was president, not Biden, nearly 100% of those who infiltrated our southern border did so because they were personally approved. They admitted they were. Thank you very much. They were just what happened, assisted by the most dangerous and violent criminal organizations anywhere on the planet. The worst people on the planet they allowed into our beautiful country. Under the Trump administration, we're finally treating the cartels as the core national security threat that they really are. The cartels are waging war on America, and just as I promised in the campaign, we're waging war on them like they've never seen before. All you have to do is turn on your television and you'll see what's happening to them. Past administrations have tried to mitigate this threat, and our objective is to eliminate it. We're not mitigating, we're eliminating. We're getting them out. The bad ones we're putting in prison. We hate to do that because that means we're stuck with them for 50 years or more. In recent weeks, our Homeland Security Task Force has seized more than 70 tons of deadly narcotics, along with more than 1,000 illegal guns. And that's just recently. This is already the most successful anti-cartel and anti-gang operation in American history. And it's just getting started. We have incredible people. A lot of them are in this room with us today, and it's an honor to have them. But we're going to not stop until the threat has been fully and completely eradicated. I want to thank task force members with us today, including a person who's doing a fantastic job, Attorney General Pam Bondi. Thank you, Pam. Thank you. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. Sounds so much better than Secretary of Defense. I don't know. Do you guys agree with that? I don't know. It sounds, you know, we won the First World War, the Second World War. I always say everything before and everything in between. And then we got woke and we said, well, let's call it defense. I think we like it this way better. You know, it's funny. That's something I thought it would be maybe controversial. And it's only controversial that we changed the name in the first place. It's not controversial at all. It's been unbelievably well accepted, Pete. Hasn't it, right? It's been pretty amazing. I thought it would be controversial. People want to have our country back. People want to do exactly what we're doing right now. We're getting a lot of credit for it. I want to thank, though, Pete. You're doing a great job. Pete Hegseth. Secretary of Homeland Security, Christi Noem. Christi, thank you very much. Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, good job. and the heads of all of the law enforcement agencies all throughout the room. It's really amazing the job you've done. To provide additional details on our mission, I would like also to ask General Bondi to say a few words, followed by Secretary Noem, Secretary Hegseth, Director Gabbard, Homeland Security Advisor Stephen Miller. Stephen, you're such a superstar, Stephen. They called Stephen the other day a very bad name, and I said, you should sue them, Stephen. I think he will. I hope he does. FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. And I just want to say it's an honor, the job we're doing, and these people are doing absolutely incredible. I'll just add a couple of things. In Memphis, as you know, where the numbers are down in half already, and it's only been about 2 weeks. You're doing a fantastic job there. Thank you. Incredible. Nobody thought it was possible. It was really it was a very sick city. It was horrible what happened there. People would go from, if you're on the board of FedEx, they would ride you 1 block to the hotel. They said you couldn't walk it because it was too dangerous. And they're already feeling better about it. But the best example right now is Washington, D.C. We went from one of the most unsafe places in the planet, I hate to say, but in this country, to a totally safe city. Nothing's crime-free, I guess, but this is about as close to crime-free as you're going to get. And you guys have done an incredible job with that. Every one of you have worked so hard on this one, and it's our nation's capital. And people would go to the nation, they'd go from, I always say, Iowa, Indiana. They go from Florida, they'd come up, they want to see the monument, I want to see the Lincoln Memorial, I want to see one of the monuments, any one of them, and they'd go home in a coffin. But not anymore, it's not happening anymore. We haven't had that happen in a long time. It was averaging more than one a week, one person a week. Who would think that's possible? And it hasn't happened anymore, and we have a safe city. We have a city where the restaurants are booming. People are going out. Nobody's being mugged, hit over the head with a baseball bat. None of the stuff is gone. We took out 1,700 criminals, many of them career criminals, many of them given to us by Joe Biden and his ridiculous open borders policy. They came in from jails from all over the world, not just South America, from all over the world. Jails, they came in from mental institutions and insane asylums all over the world, drug dealers. And we got them the hell out of here. They're either that, or if they're so bad, as I said before, we put them in jail because we can't take a chance that they come back. But I want to just say that Washington, D.C. is such an example of what could be done. And now the same thing's happening in Memphis. We're just halfway through the process, and already the numbers are far superior, far better than what we would have thought at this time. And Chicago, I just saw the number. Last week, it was last weekend, 4 were murdered, 11 were shot. And then I have this guy Pritzker, is a very weak governor. Let me be nice. I'm going to be very nice. He's extremely weak. He's pathetic. I have Pritzker get up and say how great they're doing in Chicago. They're doing very poorly. So 4 were murdered, 4, 11 were shot. I would say, and that was not a bad week for him, okay? That was not a bad week. He's had somewhere 18 or 19 were murdered. And you know what his excuse was? Yeah, but that was a long weekend, okay? Can you believe it? He said that was a long weekend. He's bad. And the mayor is worse. I mean, that mayor is worse. Low IQ, very low IQ. And we don't need low IQ people. We need people that are going to take care. And I love Chicago, and I love those beautiful women. Black women, beautiful women wearing MAGA hats, and they're all over the place in Chicago. They want protection. They don't care if it's the National Guard, if it's the Army, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines. They'll take Space Force, okay? Space Force, send them in. They just don't want to be mugged, killed, raped, shot in the head, and we stop it. So we're going to be given a very special we're going to give Chicago very special care. As you probably know, maybe you heard, we were going to do a big surge in San Francisco, but I got a great call from some incredible people, some friends of mine, very successful people. Mark, everybody knows him, and Jensen, everybody knows Jensen, NVIDIA, and others called me from San Francisco. And they said, we're working really hard with the mayor, and we're making progress. Would it be possible for you to hold off the surge? And I had 4 or 5 calls, and I think they're making progress of their own. That would be the greatest. I mean, if they could do that, that'd be great. And they have great competence in those people. I mean, incredible competence, some of the smartest business leaders. And they're working very well with the police department. They're doing a good job. So we are holding off that surge, everybody, and we're going to let them see if they can do it. I said, I think we can do it much faster. I know we can do it faster. I think we can do it better than anybody. We can take criminals out that they're not going to know about, and probably they don't have the legal authority maybe to do what we can. But I'm okay with it, and we're going to let San Francisco, has the potential to be, it was a great, great city, has the potential very quickly to be a great city again. And these are the companies that are there that are all working, and those are the people that asked me, could you do away with the surge, and let's see how it works. And we'll do that. If we need to, we'll do it, but it's possible that we won't need to, and we will be focusing on other places like Chicago. And we'll have Chicago taken care of very quickly. But just remember, 11 people shot, 4 people murdered, okay? And that was this weekend, and that was Chicago. And then you'll see Pritzker get up and talk about, well, we have it under control. They don't have it under control. Just the opposite, it's getting worse. So we'll take care of, as soon as we give the go-ahead, which is all I have to do is give the go-ahead. We won the big court case the other day on the National Guard. That was a good case. Same thing with Portland, speaking of that, because that's where we won it. But I mean, I looked the other night, Saturday night, Portland is like burning to the ground, and these people are saying it's just friendly stuff. The whole place is burning to the ground. So we'll take care of that one. That's like an insurrection more than it is anything else. That's crazy. Portland's crazy. And then you listen to these radical left people talking about it's really okay. You're seeing things. You're really seeing things. So we're going to take care of Chicago. We're going to take care of Portland. We're going to take care of Memphis. We're proud of D.C. There's nothing to take care of anymore, but we're not going to let it ever go bad. It's never going to happen again, our nation's capital. And with that, I'm just going to tell you that Pam Bondi has done a fantastic job. And Pam, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you, President Trump, and thank you for your leadership. And this is all about collaboration. And around this table, I'm looking around this table, we all work so well together. I don't think another administration in our nation's history has worked so well together. We talk constantly, Secretary Noem, Tulsi, constantly, but also all of our agencies working hand in hand, and that's why this is so successful. And these people around this table are working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, even though the Democrats have tried to shut down the government. Terry Cole, I'm laughing because you're around the clock, you're all over the world. Director Patel, you're unstoppable, what you're doing around this country. Gowdy Serralta, U.S. Marshal, Rob Sakata and Dan Driscoll wearing your ATF hats. Rob, I was on the texting, Todd Blanche and I were on the texting you at 1 a.m. on cases. I mean, that's how committed all of these people are to just keeping all of our citizens safe. And that's what it's all about. And this project is the brainchild of Stephen Miller. And you are doing so much to keep our citizens safe, our kids safe, and get these drugs off our streets. Like the mayor of San Francisco and I are going to be meeting on fentanyl in a few weeks and working hand in hand on that. Secretary Noem spoke to him. But the results of this last month have been historic. As the president said, in the last month, think about this, 3,200, more than 3,200 violent gangs and drug dealers have been taken off the streets. Off the streets. Now, Director Patel and all of these agencies have also been working so hard on getting the leadership. But we are getting all the gang members off the streets and the drug dealers, Sinaloa, CJNG, MS-13, and more. TD. 91 tons of drugs have been seized as a result of this task force. We try to put this in perspective for you. This would be filling 4 18-wheelers.
Dirt road just east of
all the drugs just in the last month that have been taken off the street. 58,000 kilos of cocaine. Think about a big backyard swimming pool. That would fill 1.5 swimming pools. Just the powder cocaine that has been removed, saving lives this last month, thanks to all of these people around the table. 2,300 kilos of fentanyl powder and 2.1 million fentanyl pills off the streets. And as the president said, more than 1,000 illegal guns. The Biden administration was, for way too long, all of these great law enforcement officers surrounding the table were not able to do their jobs. What they've said is now they've been uncuffed. They can do their jobs now. We've been watching transnational gangs grow in our country, become organized, set up infrastructure in all of our states, but no longer under President Trump. We are destroying the infrastructure, and we're no longer on defense. All of these great men and women are on offense, so they better get ready. We're dismantling the cartels, and we are taking the leaders into custody and all of the gangs. We are going to supercharge this work. This is not a pilot program. This is permanent. We are here to stay. And Secretary Hegseth, we couldn't do this without you and the Department of War. Thank you all so much for everything you're doing around this table, working tirelessly. And President Trump, thank you for giving them the ability to do that.
Mr. President, since the year 2000, we have lost over 1 million Americans to drugs. To overdoses, to these cartels that have proliferated that kind of a disease on our people and have gone to war with our next generation of Americans. When you signed the executive order that was protecting the American people from invasion, what you did is that you took these cartels and gangs that we've known for decades and you declared them to be what they really are, and that's terrorists. You declared war on them, and you didn't say we were just going to fight them. You said we are going to destroy them. And everybody around this table is so honored to be here to work with you to destroy these terrorists that have been killing Americans for years and getting rich off of it. I'm so proud of the work that was done just in the September surge. You referenced that earlier. We had over 400 operations that went down in those first 43 days of the Homeland Security Task Force in operations that brought, as Pam referenced, 3,200 terrorists to justice, got them off the streets. Sir, we also have had over precursors and chemicals that were brought in. We've had the work at the southern border. We've got Border Patrol here at the table with you. Fentanyl has been cut down by 50% coming into this country over our borders. We've continued to work not just nationally, but internationally and on our maritime borders as well. The ICE agents that have so much violence against them and threats against them, sir, they get up every day ready to work with this task force to be able to keep people safe. And then we've got Coast Guard, who's been doing just a ton of our incredible interdictions out on the seas and the waters in cooperation with operations that you've targeted in the Caribbean with the Department of War. And sir, I just want to thank you for the leadership you put at this table, for your for Stephen Miller, for putting this in place to make sure that what you did when you consolidated the Homeland Security Task Force, you took 1,000 other task forces that were already established in the federal government and you streamlined them into this room, into this group right here, so that we can look at each other in the face every day and say, what's our problem? How do we address it? How do we fix it? And then we go to work together with our arms linked to do exactly what you told us to do. And that's not just protect the American people from invasion, but to kill these terrorists. You gave us the task to eliminate them, destroy them, so that they can't destroy the next generation of Americans. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the people you put around this table.
Thank you very much. That's a great job. Thank you. Pete?
Yes, sir. Well, thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. Chief, likewise, Tulsi and Todd and Dan and Pam and Christi and Stephen and Cash. I mean, I could go around the table. From the Department of War, we are thankful and grateful for the incredible effort that your agencies put in. And we could not be more proud to stand
Control 1,
superficially, not kind of over here, but front and center on the Homeland Security Task Force, right there with you. Because our department has spent over 2 decades defending other homelands, and we're very proud to be defending our own. And if you talk to the troops down, say, on the southwest border, Mr. President, morale is sky high and continues to be, because they're proud to be defending their own communities, their own state, and their own country. So when that executive order was signed, the mission was clear: protecting the American people against invasion. And so the Department of War went straight to the southwest border. We still have 10,000 troops there. We have national defense areas. We're standing alongside the Border Patrol, and we've locked that border down, 100% control of the southwest border. We stopped the invasion. And then we're proud to be going on the offense, counter-cartel operations. And it's not counter-cartel, as was mentioned. These are designated terrorist organizations, foreign terrorist organizations. Our generation spent the better part of 2 decades hunting Al-Qaeda, hunting ISIS. Well, as the president said, this is the ISIS, this is the Al-Qaeda of the Western Hemisphere. They intimidate, they terrorize, they extort, they poison the American people. The president's right. Every boat we strike is 25,000 Americans whose lives are saved because of the drugs that were headed in our direction. So our message to these foreign terrorist organizations is we will treat you like we have treated Al-Qaeda. We will find you, we will map your networks, we will hunt you down, and we will kill you. And you've seen that evidence in the maritime domain, whether it's in the Caribbean or in the Pacific with the last 2 strikes. We know exactly who these people are. We know what networks they work with, what foreign terrorist organizations they're a part of. We know where they're going, where they originated from, what they're carrying. And they know we know. And that will soon start to change the calculus of these boats. So the critique of this is, of course, as often is the case, wrong. We know our authorities. It's locked tight, and we're going to treat them like foreign terrorist organizations on the offense. So the Department of War is not going to degrade or just simply arrest. We're going to defeat and destroy these terrorist organizations to defend the homeland on behalf of the American people, making the jobs of law enforcement safer in the process, making the communities of Americans safer in the process. We think it's a very core mission.
Go by 2410.
2410.
Control 1, Ranger 21, code 4, switching to admin.
Ranger 21 to admin.
Of the Department of War, and we're proud to be here, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Pete. Thank you. Tulsi, please.
Yes.
Control 1, Ranger 21, clear for 29.
Ranger 21, go ahead.
It's going to be last of Riviera, common spelling, first of Jose, common spelling, date of birth 6/21/87.
Confirming the last name was Rivera.
Affirm.
RP with the conflict.
Oh, thank you, 427 on the check the welfare. The blue dot. 7. Copies. We're just in that area.
we're on team, northbound 14. Sub in the lobby.
Okay. That's not 14 6 okay.
10-4.
Control on Tom 3, 10-7. Tom 3, 10-7. Tom 34, 10-8. 24, 10-8.
Affirmative, go ahead.
California 9, Adam, Robert, 075.
South Korean 2008 knowledge to address.
Control on Tom 1808, 1016 from Lamont Court, Gallardo.
Multiple units, Rose Henry unit. I copy the other unit. Go ahead. Florida.
Control on Frank 17, send me to 530.
Of DC, but I'm going to put that's easy. And I think, frankly, fixing the crime with the pros, fixing the crime is easy too. A person who I've known for a long time, and she's been incredible. She was a fantastic, one of the best ever district attorneys in New York. She was in Westchester, and she became a judge, very successful judge. And then she went into show business because she was such a good DA and such a good judge, tough judge, but fair, always fair. Nobody ever complained about that, but she was tough. And because of that and her reputation, she went into show business. So a lot of people don't, they think of Janine as show business. Actually, show business was not her thing. It was, and she did great. She was on, along with a couple of other of my friends, on the #1 show. And she did great, but this is what she loves doing. This is really her baby. What she's going to do is going to be incredible. And I'd like to speak for just a few seconds on what she has in mind, what she wants to do. We're going to be appointing some judges. We have some open spots, and we're going to take people, because the judges are letting killers out. They just say, go, that's okay, don't worry about it. So we're putting some, Pam recommended, Todd recommended, some judges that are great. Janine recommended. Janine's given me 3 great candidates already. We have about 10 open spots, and we can probably create some more. We need them. Janine, would you say a few words, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you, Madam Attorney General, and to all my...
I'm also treated like so smart.
Are they terrified? But I'm like, no, like, I'm real, like. Where I was. Well, yeah, let's go.
Eagle 26 situation.
She's That's okay, it's not. So like I'm the deal. Truck 21.
Control with Tom 29. Tom 29, 1050.
It is good. Anything litigation is maybe something it's fine. It's good. But it's treated
Chippa 1 Adam. Could be a suspicious circumstance at 308 Troy. In contact with the RP. He did 311 Fairfax, but he's sitting at 307 on the Milton area. Suspects that his neighbor is on his own property in possession of a shotgun and intimidation tactic.
I love what places.
Madam Company.
Yeah, I can hear you guys. I got you, yep. Okay.
Well, I need a little access. Maybe step in.
You got 5'6"? I got a 4'2".
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like, you know, I'll count 1 second.
4'3" I got.
But I'm in a city treating it.
That's all right.
I got you, John. Yes. Test, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Normal, 409
Up normal 1501.
This here, Jeremy here.
Let me know what's good, Johnny.
I'm trying to figure out how long I can keep record everything. Trying to hang on to
Yes, podium is on 1, K is on 2.
I mean, I live in Plaza. Yeah. 15 minutes.
Hey, kid, anybody? Yeah.
We were living in
All right. One more time, microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for all coming. All right. Thank you all. All right.
Testify ever received an answer door. Good one.
Your experience.
Good. Yep.
What's this?
looks like it's the induction.
110.
I got you, yep. Okay. What do you guys I'm being told to go to my right, but I'm going like off the camera right now. Do you guys have the statement from Rogier's lawyer?
Three different copy, David Young, boy, 3643.
How many chunks about
I don't know.
Okay, wait, the
141, go ahead.
The white male last, but that's the Henry Ocean Lincoln Ocean Williams versus Ryan Yellow. Bid were 6'9" of 86.
10-4.
Control 1, they gave it to Corp 4.
31.
31.
What?
31. I got one. There's like one for me, you, Tanya, and Ted.
Hey guys, good morning. So this news conference is in a moment with the FBI director, Captain Stell. It's going to sell.
Will be weapons company. Yeah, static sale. Might take off across the country. 31 with the possession of a shotgun with stolen documents. Backyard, we share about our past.
As well as active Authoritarian here and Damon Jones. Those are big names right now.
Good morning, everybody. We're going to start in 5 minutes. I just want to go over a couple of things with you. I can go over with you the order of speakers. The U.S. Attorney is going to speak first and welcome everyone. That's U.S. Attorney Joseph Nocella. Then FBI Director Kash Patel will speak. He will then turn the podium over back to U.S. Attorney Nocella, who will go over a detailed summary of both indictments. Following U.S. Attorney Nocella, it will be FBI Assistant Director in Charge Christopher Raya, R-A-I-A. He's in charge of the FBI's New York field office. He will be followed by Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent in Charge Ricky Patel.
David Mays.
And after Ricky Patel, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch will deliver remarks. There will be some other people standing up here at the podium who will not have speaking roles. You may recognize some of them. It'll be Chief of Detectives Joe Kenny will be up here, but he will not make remarks. Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent in Charge Mike McCarthy from Newark will be standing up here also. And the Executive Director of the Waterfront Commission, Phoebe Sorial, will also be up here but not make remarks. The U.S. Attorney is going to introduce them in his welcoming remarks. We will take some questions after all of the speakers have finished speaking. We're not going to take any off-topic questions. We're just taking questions on the two indictments here today. The indictments are unsealed right now, so we have copies of the, well, it looks like most of them are gone now, but there were copies of the indictments and the detention letter on that table. And I'm going to email them out to everyone on our media list as well. You will see that in the detention letter, which is the organized crime case, the rigged poker game case, there are pictures in that filing. You're free to use the pictures that are in the filing, or if you want JPEG copies of the pictures, we've put them in a Dropbox. So if you want the JPEG versions of those pictures, send me an email, and I'll send you an invitation to the Dropbox, so you'll have access. You can then download those pictures, okay? And as to probably two of the defendants here that are getting the most media interest, Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier, they're going to appear in federal courts in the districts where they were arrested. Terry Rozier will be appearing in federal court in Orlando, Florida, sometime this afternoon. I can't tell you precisely, but sometime around 1 or 2 o'clock. Chauncey Billups in federal court in Portland. I don't know approximately what time that would be. They will both be arraigned on their indictments. They're in separate indictments, but they'll be arraigned on their indictments here in Brooklyn at a future date.
1 Adam, search for an AOD with a quick GSW. Ahead at 9405 Marvin, subject is still breathing. Welcome on customer.
All steps direct on.
All steps straight, copy and out. Yeah, copy and out.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joseph Nocella. I am the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. I'd like to welcome you here today. In addition, we have with us today FBI Director Kash Patel, FBI Assistant Director in Charge Christopher Rea of the New York Field Office, Special Agent in Charge of the New York Field Office, Leslie Bakshi's, New York Special Agent in Charge of Homeland Security, Ricky Patel, Newark Special Agent in Charge of Homeland Security, Michael McCarty, Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenny, and the Executive Director of the Waterfront Commission, Phoebe Sorrell. I'm now going to turn the podium over to FBI Director Kash Patel.
Good morning. Today we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Cosa Nostra. The men and women up here standing with me represent a small portion of the leadership team that brought profound justice in an era that needed it more than any. I'll just highlight some of the details in the case and the FBI work, and then you'll hear from the others. But as you now know, individuals such as Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier were taken into custody today, former, current NBA players and coaches. What you don't know is that this is an illegal gambling operation and sports rigging operation that spanned the course of years. The FBI led a coordinated takedown across 11 states to arrest over 30 individuals today responsible for this case, which is very much ongoing. Not only did we crack into the fraud that these perpetrators committed on the grand stage of the NBA, but we also entered and executed a system of justice against La Cosa Nostra to include the Bonanno, Gambino, Genovese, and Lucchese crime families. And you'll hear more about those details today. The charges and the arrests that were taken down across this country range from wire fraud, money laundering, extortion, robbery, illegal gambling. This FBI will leave no room for any perpetrator of crime across this country. You hear a lot about our work of defending the homeland and crushing violent crime. Well, this work is also representative of a colossal portion of the FBI's mandate to keep America safe and to keep our entertainment industry fair and secure. The men and women that are standing up here today worked tireless hours, days, months, and years. And the fraud is mind-boggling. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not thousands of dollars. It's not tens of thousands of dollars. It's not even millions of dollars. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in fraud and theft and robbery across a multi-year investigation. And we could not have done it without our interagency partners that are before us today. The NYPD, HSI, and teams of law enforcement officials from around the country made this day possible. It takes a team to bring this kind of justice, sweeping justice, into the halls of the United States courtrooms, where our brave United States Attorney has led this prosecution. It takes courageous prosecutors to stand before you and say, we will not allow this kind of illicit activity to happen, not only at the national sporting level, but also where it hides in La Cosa Nostra. And when these two collided together, they perpetrated a fraud that is historic in terms of not just money, but the scheme and the deceit that they utilize to steal and swindle people for money, to include crypto fraud. This is an operation that showcases to you that under President Trump's administration, there is no room for any type of criminal behavior, be it on the world's largest stage or in the back rooms of tiny parlors where guard games are being plugged. We are proud to stand here today with the men and women of the FBI and this legal team. And to the United States Attorney, I just want to thank you personally for taking the time to display the work that the media is about to hear about today in detail. As I said, it does take courageous prosecutors, but it takes a courageous United States Attorney to bring this case because we are going to take heat for it. But we don't shy away in this administration. We don't say no. What we do is we bring the results across the finish line. We bring them to the public. We bring you accountability. And yes, they will have their day in court, and you will hear the evidence through the court system exclusively. We will not deny anyone a due process. And that's the brilliance of this system. That's the brilliance of this administration. Everyone will be held to account. So with that, I turn it over to United States Attorney Nocella. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Patel. To be clear, we're announcing today indictments in two major cases, both involving fraud. One involves sports betting, and the other involves illegal gambling, very specifically rigged poker games. The first indictment involves 6 defendants who are alleged to have participated in one of the most brazen sports corruption schemes since online sports betting became widely legalized in the United States. This scheme is an insider sports betting conspiracy that exploited confidential information about National Basketball Association athletes and teams. The second indictment involves 31 defendants alleged to have participated in a nationwide scheme to rig illegal poker games. These defendants, which include former professional athletes, used high-tech cheating technology to steal millions of dollars from victims in underground poker games that were secretly fixed. The games in the New York area were backed by the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families of La Cosa Nostra. While the cases are separate, there are 3 overlapping defendants charged in both cases: Damon Jones, Eric Ernest, and Shane Hennon. The indictments in these cases contain only allegations, and the defendants are presumed innocent until they are proven guilty in a court of law. But my message to the defendants who've been rounded up today is this: your winning streak has ended. Your luck has run out. Violating the law is a losing proposition, and you can bet on that. First, I would like to talk about United States versus Ernest, the NBA basketball gambling case. The defendants in this case are Eric Ernest, Marvez Farley, Shane Hennon, De Niro Laster, Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach, and Terry Rozier, a current NBA player. Other co-conspirators were previously charged for their roles in the scheme, including former NBA player Jonte Porter. Between December 2022 and March 2024, these defendants perpetrated a scheme to defraud by betting on inside, non-public information about NBA athletes and teams. The non-public information included when specific players would be sitting out future games, or when they would pull themselves out early for purported injuries or illnesses. They relied on corrupt individuals, including Jones and Rozier. They also misused information obtained through long-standing friendships that they had with NBA players and coaches. And in at least one instance, they got their information by threatening a current player, Porter, because of his pre-existing gambling debts. Defendants used this non-public information to place hundreds of thousands of dollars in fraudulent bets, mostly in the form of prop bets on individual player performance. The bets were placed through online sports books and also in person at casinos. The defendants relied on a network of straw bettors to place the maximum amount of bets to increase their potential profits. Most of these bets succeeded, and the intended losses were in the millions of dollars. The defendants then laundered their illegal winnings in various ways: peer-to-peer platforms, bank wires, and simple cash exchanges. The indictment details specific examples where the defendants profited from illegal gambling and illegal betting on various NBA games about the performance of players on, among other things, the Charlotte Hornets, the Portland Trail Blazers, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Rangers. Each defendant in the NBA basketball gambling case has been charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. Now, I would like to turn to the other case, United States versus Aiello, the rigged poker game case. Beginning as early as 2019, the defendants in this case orchestrated a scheme to use wireless cheating technology to run rigged poker games across the United States, including in the Hamptons, Las Vegas, Miami, and Manhattan. The scheme targeted victims known as, quote, fish, who were often lured to participate in these rigged games by the chance to play alongside former professional athletes who were known as, quote, face cards. The so-called face cards included the defendant Chauncey Billups, who at the time of the scheme was a former NBA player and is currently the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, and also Damon Jones, a former NBA player and coach. What the victims, the fish, didn't know is that everybody else at the poker game, from the dealer to the players, including the face cards, were in on the scam. Once the game was underway, the defendants fleeced the victims out of tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars per game. The defendants used a variety of very sophisticated cheating technologies, some of which were provided by other defendants in exchange for a share of the profits from the scheme. For example, they used off-the-shelf shuffling machines that had been secretly altered in order to read the cards in the deck, predict which player at the table had the best poker hand, and relay that information to an off-site operator. The off-site operator sent the information via cell phone back to a co-conspirator at the table, and that person at the table was known as the quarterback. The quarterback then signaled secretly the information he had received from others to others at the table, and together they used that information in order to win their games and to cheat the victims. Defendants used other cheating technologies such as poker chip tray analyzers, which is a poker chip tray that secretly reads cards using a hidden camera, special contact lenses or eyeglasses that could read pre-marked cards, and an X-ray table that could read cards face down on the table. What you see depicted on the screen right now is an example of the X-ray table that reveals the cards. Although they are face down on the table, they can be read because of the X-ray technology. The Mafia, specifically members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese organized crime families, had pre-existing control over non-rigged, illegal poker games around New York City. As a result, they also became involved in the rigged poker games, helping to organize the games and taking the cut of the proceedings, and working to enforce the collection of debts. The defendants laundered their proceeds, including through cash exchanges, the use of multiple shell companies, and through cryptocurrency transfers. As part of the scheme, some of the defendants and their co-conspirators also committed acts of violence, including the gunpoint robbery of a person in order to obtain a rigged shuffling machine, and extortions that were perpetrated against victims in order to ensure that they repaid their gambling debts. Defendants who participated in the rigged poker scheme are charged with wire fraud conspiracy. Other defendants have been charged with crimes including illegal gambling, money laundering, Hobbs Act robbery, and extortions. This case demonstrates our office's unrelenting commitment to fighting the scourge of organized crime in whatever form it takes. I'd like to conclude my remarks by thanking the incredible hard work of our law enforcement partners, including the FBI, Homeland Security, the NYPD, and the Waterfront Commission. I also want to thank the dedicated prosecutors who built these two cases and who are standing to my right. Benjamin Weintraub, David Bourbon, Caitlin Farrell, Michael Gibaldi, Irisa Chen, and Sean Sherman. They had the assistance of paralegal specialists Liam McNett, John Schneider, Marlene Bosford. Also deserving of our thanks because of their outstanding investigative work on the NBA case are FBI Special Agents Russell Lantier, Dominic Mariani, Amy Giarosa, Shane Wilkins, and Supervisory Special Agent Luke Hardison. On the rigged poker game scheme, outstanding work was performed by FBI Special Agents Thomas Cribbin, Jeff Boriola, Jonathan Corona, Alexander Silverman, Amy Campanaro, and Supervisory Special Agent Michael Malahi, as well as NYPD Task Officer James McCullough, and from Homeland Security, Supervisory Special Agent Charles Freund, and from the Waterfront Commission, Detective Paul Shimborski. Finally, I want to note that the investigations in both cases are ongoing, and we encourage anyone with information about either scheme to please contact the FBI. Now I would like to turn the podium over to Special Agent in charge of the New York Field Office, I should say the Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office of the FBI, Christopher Rea. Chris?
J13 Alpha.
All right, thank you, Joe. As always, we appreciate the partners here. Can't do any of this without you and your team, so thank you. Also want to publicly thank the director for coming down from D.C. The director's a very busy person, and for him to come down should tell you the importance of this historic case. I'm Christopher Rea, the Assistant Director in charge of the FBI New York Field Office. Today, as you've heard, our office conducted a massive nationwide takedown from 2 indictments of 34 defendants for their alleged involvement in 2 separate illegal poker and sports betting schemes where, as you heard, the odds were rigged in their favor. Among these defendants are 13 members and associates of the Bonanno, Gambino, and Genovese crime families, to include capos and soldiers from these families. Additionally, as you heard, current and former NBA coaches and players are also implicated, to include Chauncey Billups, Damon Jones, and Terry Rozier. 3 of the named defendants are charged for their alleged roles in both schemes. This alleged illegal gambling operation hustled unwitting victims out of tens of millions of dollars and created a financial pipeline for La Cosa Nostra to help fund and facilitate their organized criminal activity. Victims were attracted to play alongside well-known professional athletes and coaches like Chauncey Billups, only to be unknowingly deceived through rigged shuffling machines, fixing the odds in their favor, as alleged and as you just heard from the U.S. Attorney's Office. This alleged scheme wreaked havoc across the nation, exploiting the notoriety of some and the wallets of many to fund the Italian crime families here in New York. Let me be clear about this fact. The FBI has not and will never take their eye off the ball when it comes to Italian organized crime in this city, specifically the LCN and the 5 families here in New York. We are not going to permit any criminal enterprise, whether it be Italian organized crime, Asian organized crime, Eurasian organized crime. We are not going to permit any of those organized crime families and organizations to operate in our city or our country, as evidenced by the 11 states that were also participating in this operation today. The FBI office here in New York remains committed to eradicating all unlawful revenue streams fueling this criminal activity. As with most cases we work, this is only the tip of the iceberg for the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office. Our LCN squad agents and analysts are continuing to work day and night with the Eastern District of New York to ensure members and associates of the 5 families cannot continue to wreak havoc in our communities. Today would not have been possible without the tireless efforts and dedication of the FBI New York Eurasian Organized Crime Task Force, which, as you heard, was led by Supervisory Special Agent Luke Hardison, and the Italian Organized Task Force, which was led by Supervisory Special Agent Mike Malahi. And coincidentally, Supervisory Special Agent Malahi is going out on a positive as he is retiring at the end of this month for 30 years of dedicated service to the FBI, and that deserves a hand. He's what we call a legend here at FBI New York. Additionally, obviously we cannot do this alone without our partners. I want to extend my appreciation to Homeland Security Investigations Special Agent in Charge, Ricky Patel. Of course, we do nothing in this city without the NYPD. New York City Police Department Commissioner Jesse Tisch, thank you, ma'am, for all your work and all your resources that you dedicated to this. And New York Waterfront Commissioner Phoebe Soriel for their agency's assistance and support throughout this lengthy and complex investigation. Our collective efforts ensured these subjects will face accountability, like the director said, for their alleged wrongdoings. Thank you, and I'll now turn it over to Special Agent in charge of HSI, Ricky Patel.
Thanks, Chris. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ricky Patel. I'm the Special Agent in charge for Homeland Security Investigations here in New York. This morning, hundreds of special agents and investigators with HSI, the FBI, the New York Waterfront Commission, and the NYPD descended upon the homes of individuals who for years have operated with the false sense of impunity, a false sense of incivility. In the early hours of today, across 9 states, coast to coast, dozens of defendants were arrested and will face the consequences of their alleged crimes. This was their wake-up call. With the alleged involvement of 3 La Cosa Nostra crime families, 1 NBA head coach, a Hall of Famer, no less, and former NBA players, the years of investigative work that culminated with this morning's operation seem reminiscent of a Hollywood movie. But this wasn't luck, and this wasn't theatrics. This was an evidence-driven, relentless, and unified effort among law enforcement. Through what we have dubbed Operation Royal Flush, HSI New York, along with our task force personnel from the Waterfront Commission, first uncovered this scheme more than 4 years ago. Agents and investigators dedicated countless hours and sleepless nights in identifying the criminal network, dissecting communications and patterns, and following the money with precision. We built a case, piece by piece, and what we discovered was a sprawling criminal enterprise that utilized cutting-edge technology and various methods of deception to dupe unsuspecting gamblers into paying up so that these defendants could cash out. As alleged, this sophisticated conspiracy cheated victims out of at least $7 million and placed the public and the defendants alike at risk. This case involved global reach, financial depth, and the patience to dismantle complex financial criminal enterprises from the inside out. When criminal organizations attempt to launder profits through our country, HSI connects the dots and shuts it down. To anyone who thinks intimidation, fraud, or violence will shield their profits, understand this. If you are exploiting our communities, expect HSI and all of our law enforcement partners at your door. I would like to thank all our partners here today. Obviously, the United States Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York, the Waterfront Commission, the FBI, the NYPD, and the prosecutors that will carry this forward. Today's arrests are not an endpoint. They are the start of accountability. Thank you, and I now turn it over to Police Commissioner Jessica.
J22 code 4.
Good morning. Thank you to Director Patel, Assistant Director Rhea, and U.S. Attorney Nocella. What we're announcing today is not just another takedown. It's the result of more than 2 years of coordinated investigative work by the NYPD's Joint Organized Crime Task Force and the FBI. 2 cases that exposed criminal networks led by 34 individuals who believed the rules did not apply to them. They hid behind layers of complexity, behind money, and behind influence, believing those things would shield them from accountability. The first case, Operation Nothing But Bet, exposed a gambling ring built around professional basketball, where players and associates allegedly used inside information to manipulate prop bets on major sports betting platforms. They placed wagers on unders on players to score less, rebound less, assist less, using information that was not yet public. In some instances, players altered their performance or took themselves out of games to make sure that those bets paid out. One example occurred on March 23rd, 2023 in Charlotte. Terry Rozier, an NBA player now with the Miami Heat, but at the time playing for the Hornets, allegedly let others close to him know that he planned to leave the game early with a supposed injury. Using that information, members of the group placed more than $200,000 in wagers on his under statistics. Rozier exited the game after just 9 minutes, and those bets paid out, generating tens of thousands of dollars in profit. The proceeds were later delivered to his home, where the group counted their cash. As the NBA season tips off, his career is already benched, not for injury, but for integrity. As a result of this investigation, 6 defendants, including Rozier, are now facing conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud. In a second case, Operation Zen Diagram, investigators uncovered a long-running scheme in which members and associates of several well-known organized crime families rigged high-stakes poker games across the country. These operatives included capos and multiple soldiers from the Bonanno, Gambino, Lucchese, and Genovese crime families, bringing 4 of the 5 families together in a single indictment is extraordinarily rare. It reflects how deep and how far this investigation reached and the skill and the persistence it took to get here. That work uncovered a deliberate, technologically sophisticated operation designed to carry out their crimes. They used custom shuffling machines that could read the order of cards, barcoded decks, and hidden cameras built into tables and light fixtures. The organizers also enlisted well-known public figures, former and current NBA players and coaches, including Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers, an NBA champion, and a Hall of Famer, to make the games appear legitimate.
We'll follow one out. We'll be starting the residence of this.
Starting the residence, Cutter. I'm 41.
no time for these people on the other side of the aisle. We have continued to denounce political violence wherever it emanates from. It will be nice to see that type of denunciation coming from Republicans. Adelaide, you want to say anything?
I think that in Arizona, we know very well what political violence looks like. Former Representative Gabby Giffords was shot while she was doing a Congress on Your Corner event. I think that what needs to be done is complete condemnation of any violence. And when you think about when we've all served locally, right? We all want to encourage people to get involved in our political system. The best representatives are those that are homegrown and are motivated to do this kind of service, like a public servant and servant leadership. And when we are faced with violence and attacks, it doesn't matter how strong people look on the outside, it shakes you on the inside. There is absolutely no reason why Leader Jeffrey's family should be concerned about this. Nobody should have to deal with that kind of hate and violence on a regular basis. And so we can nitpick all of the little details, but fundamentally, this is not okay and this is not normal. It's not. And when you have a president who is giving away $40 billion of our tax money to a foreign entity and not taking care of what's going on at home, but also, by the way, enriching themselves, I think that that's a conversation we should be having. But when we talk about signs here and there, and I mean, I was in Tucson, it is beautiful. There are like 4,000 people there, all walks of life, all ages. The vast majority had never gone to a protest before. That's pretty cool. And I think what that shows, and it's an indication of the general unhappiness and displeasure of the American people in this administration.
Michael.
We're 2 weeks away.
California temporary, David Edward 57, Nora 56 on a Ford.
If you think those 3 elections, will they be a signal to kind of where the Democratic Party is headed as we go into 2026? Just how are you thinking about those elections? I know you've had varying degrees of activity in each of those. Just want to get your general thoughts.
It will be a signal about where the country is headed in the midst of dealing with the national nightmare that is the Trump administration and the Republican sycophants in the House and the Senate who are embracing all of this extremism. That's what the New Jersey gubernatorial election is going to represent. That's what the Virginia gubernatorial election is going to represent. And that's what Prop 50 in California is going to represent. And we're going to win. In California, I was there all weekend. We're going to win in California. Stop Trump from stealing the election by rigging congressional maps all across the country. And we're just getting started in California. Remember I said this, just getting started in California. And we're going to win in Virginia. We're going to win in New Jersey because the American people are fed up that Republicans would rather spend time on vacation on the golf course, give $40 billion to a foreign entity, and can't find resources to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits days away from November 1st and the open enrollment period. That's who these people are right now. And that's why Democrats are fighting hard across the country, every day, every week, every month, this year, next year, until we get to the midterm elections and can begin to end the national nightmare that Republicans are visiting on the American people.
9 Tom Zebra Frank 138 P
I believe that a lawsuit is being filed today. I don't have any other details, but I believe it's happening very soon.
Thank you.
I want to ask about your conversation with Speaker Johnson over the weekend. Did you discuss
X-ray 24, it's no stop.
It's a private conversation that will remain private.
2019 Ford out of Bakersfield registered to Robertina Madrigal Lisea, shows to be repossessed. X-ray 24, copy.
Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva said it in such a powerfully eloquent way. But we have a responsibility here in Congress to make sure that everyone can safely do their jobs, particularly in the People's House, because we pride ourselves in this institution as being the entity in the federal government that's closest to the American people, that's out and about with the American people, that reflects the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations, the fears, the concerns, the anxieties, in the words of the framers, the passions of the American people. That's what makes the House so special. And so for members to be able to continue to do their jobs in that regard, we certainly have to increase significantly the amount of safety that is provided. And we continue to work on that. Significant steps have been taken, and more needs to be done. But at the same period of time, what's even more important, in my view, is that we work on issues of importance to the American people. House Democrats are here. We'll be here all week. We were here last week. We were here the week before and the week before that. Ready, willing, and able to do the job, to reopen the government, to address the Republican healthcare crisis, to deal with the fact that America under Donald Trump, including because of his tariffs, has become far too expensive. And the Republicans are doing nothing about it. Literally, these are people, these extremists. I think it was earlier today.
Mike 7, resistance until 2025.
They were dining on taxpayer dollars at the White House when they just enacted the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history. And the consequences of that policy are being felt right now. They literally, Republicans, ripped food out of the mouths of children, hungry seniors, veterans, and family. Why did they do this? To provide massive tax breaks to their billionaire donors. And they made those tax breaks permanent. And now this same group of extremists can't even be bothered to have a conversation about extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits for working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans. They are a disgrace. And that's why they're about to lose all across the country 2 weeks from today.
And we should restore all of the health care that's been savagely cut by the Republicans' dreadful, awful bill. And we should swear in our new colleague, and we should move forward with the business of the people. I am very pleased to introduce you to Adelita Grijalva, our most newly elected member of Congress who continues to wait to be sworn in.
Thank you. Thank you. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Thank you, Leader Jeffries and Ranking Member Raskin, for the opportunity to speak here. And for, I think this is the 5th time that a member of Congress has tried to get some recognition in order to have me sworn in. Today is day 28 since my election. And I think that it's really important that we appreciate that 812,000 Arizonans do not have representation in Congress. My dad passed away a little over 7 months ago in March. And since that time, the offices were able to provide constituent services. It was the People's Office of Arizona CD7. On September 23rd, those services ended. And so I do not have access to provide services in district. And I think that I also don't have a budget. So this back and forth, coming back and forth, is on my miles that I had stored up because I don't have a budget. I'm not able to open a lease in district. And I think that, the efforts that have been provided to me, and I'm appreciative of the administration's effort, the departments in the administration, they're trying to provide piecemeal solutions to some of the problems that we have. But respectfully, there's so much that cannot be done until I am sworn in. And so every moment that passes that I'm not able to provide constituent services or be a voice for Arizona, I can't bring the issues forward that they sent me here to do. And so while, we're getting a lot of attention for not being sworn in, I'd rather get the attention for doing my job. And I can't do that right now without being sworn in. And there were it's just notable to continue to mention there were 2 Republican members that were sworn in less than 24 hours from the date of their special election, April 1st. They were sworn in less than 24 hours, April 2nd, on a pro forma session. It's not unheard of for this speaker to do that. And so I continue to ask for us to have the same opportunity, and for the 812,000 people in Arizona that do not have a voice right now to have the opportunity to have me here representing them. Thank you.
Thank you, Adelita. Thank you, Jamie. It's a disgrace that Mike Johnson and Republicans continue to refuse to swear in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva. It's disrespectful of her. It's disrespectful to the 812,000 people who elected her. It's disrespectful to the great state of Arizona, and it's disrespectful to the House of Representatives, which is supposed to be the people's house, but under Republican leadership has turned into nothing but a rubber stamp for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. Questions?
Receive or learn about the threat against you from Christopher Wynant. Is it plausible that the speaker hadn't heard about this case before?
Well, that's not clear, and that, is for people to judge the credibility of that response. At the end of the day, here in America, we're living in a moment of extreme political violence, and that impacts every single person in public service. And the
to Current Medical Center for our IFC. We've got about a 6-minute ETA, flight forward aircom.
Receive 15 with this base en route, Current Medical. 6-minute ETA, flight forward with aircom. Can you provide your destination?
Affirmative, 15 is going to be Cottage in Santa Barbara.
Thank you much. Thank you all much for helping me out. I appreciate you. You guys, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome in. It was a good little drive to little Arvin.
Control, can you advise the last 4 for the vehicle we're in?
I'll be crazy if you see flames. That would be awesome.
Confirm unit for support.
So you gotta do is a lot of welding.
143, Adam 143, copy me separate assignment. 3 Adam 143, copy me separate assignment. All other Adam copy.
scared to weld over on a gas line. It'd be kind of scary.
Valley 4. Valley 4 is code 4. The losses recovered, no losses. 4.
That doesn't look right. You're doing all right. Somebody gonna make it? Oh, you made it. Sure did make it. Yep, Ronda said Arvin is bigger than Lamont, guys. Bigger than Lamont. They used to call it Little Arvin. Not no more, it's Big Arvin, Little Lamont. Thank you, Rhonda. That's the first time I ever noticed that house right there.
Control 1, 253 and Empire 2, traffic stop. 1, 253 and Empire 2, traffic stop. 253 Adam. Edward, William, E36. Edward, William, E36. Bernard kill. The vehicle 1182, gonna be close to the highway. 155. 243 Adam returns no stop expired of 2023, 2018 Honda. With a registration in progress at a vehicle. 2018 Honda with a registration in progress at a vehicle.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. Rolling, rolling, rolling. You gotta be joking me, lady. This is always sideways driving. I'm trying to look over the dashboard.
Don't put him back on the top of the list. My apologies.
Stuff that I see. How you doing, Linda?
Motor 1. Don't put them back on the top of the list. My apologies.
You're all right.
Motor 1, I copied. I'll cancel the tow for you, ma'am. No need to apologize.
Yep. Everybody makes mistakes. That's right, man. I love it. I love people like that. There's Big Daddy over there getting dinner.
Control 1, take full side. Report. Get back over.
Shopping at Food Co. Oh no, Food Max, whatever that place is.
Control 243 boy, I'm 1087 on 243 Adams call. 243 boy, I'm 1087 on 243 Adams call.
I don't see nothing going on over here.
243 right there. Control 243 Adams. How they go for it? Control 243 Adams.
Edmund Street.
How they go for it?
How you doing, Charlotte?
Both parties are on the right shoulder, negative 1125. They're going to stand by for the bigger split unit. You show me 98.
baby mama. Oh, come on, por favor, homie.
Call to a GTA investigation.
All 3 to myself.
I hurt my ear.
Control and pause 3, update the call to check the welfare. 3374. Pause 3, update the call to check the welfare. 3374.
It's alright, man.
Control and broadcasting for Control 3. For broadcast information. Control and broadcast for Control 3. Officers near Gate Street. Great Street southbound from Gate. Yeah, black. Hit right. Street southbound from Gate. Second half will be a black. 6 foot 108 pounds. Bring in ski mask. Black shirt. For no plates and ran. Stop sign area of Gate Street. For no plates and ran. Stop sign area of Gate Street. Patrol on North Haven 1. Traffic stop.
Either one.
Got a pocket knife.
California Police 7 Boy Lincoln David 739 Elmo Highway and Belcher Road.
Roger 1 returns this, stop 6 fighters of 2023, vehicle registration suspended, 2013 Ford Utility out of Wasco.
Roger 174.
Sister. Tap, 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 tap. What's going on, Anita? You tapped out. See you on the next one. What's up, little Robert Decker? Boom. One day. Just moved out of California. Right. Where'd you move to? Where'd you go? Don't tell me you went to Vegas. Oh, hey. Come on, baby. Where'd you move to? Oh, somewhere nice and quiet.
Lincoln 13 will be in route to 192 on Chester. That's 415 loitering the traffic circle. Uniform 902T, East Panama Lane, Cotton. Cover. Go on, Bobby, good one. Give me one. Cover. 3, 96 and now.
See, man, it's just, man.
Over.
That's gonna be a bad one, guys. These Panama that ain't no joke right there. That they need to put a stop sign there or something.
Okay.
I hate to say it. They need to do something with that road.
The Hispanic female Lazos Martinez from spelling Rodriguez. First name Perla, Paul Edward Robert Lincoln Adam, date of birth 11/4/2003.
Oh, somebody's on the train. Now we're going to a call. Yeah, that guy's in the back of the train right now. And he's going too, man. That's the kind of shot that I want to get. Man.
Control 1, Jake, David 1.
On this station. Copy, supplemental on this station.
6 copy. 6 copy.
Control 1, Tango, David 1.
David 1.
I'm in route to Laredo for follow-up on case number 132895.
Right now.
Officer Adam, code 4, 2 officer rescue. Officer Adam, code 4, 2 officer rescue. 2
She didn't say where she'd moved to.
Body 1097 on tag 202781.
She said she moved out of California, but she said where to. Maybe she wants to keep it a secret. Rubbing that button like that, girl. Still there. Why you gotta rub it? It's not going nowhere.
Tag 15 standing by on 3.
Right, she got a job? Alright, girl. That's right.
Code 1020 for inbound. 8
It's good to see people moving in the right direction.
Control 1, Paul 3, show me 10-8, route 602. 1, Paul 3, Paul 3, show me 10-8, route 602. Oscar Robert 1. Oscar Robert 1. Oscar Robert 1, those are unit available for a stop South HME area.
For a stop.
Available unit for South HME.
South
Utilize
HME.
party contact. 3 Valley 7. Valley 7 area firm from Madison, call 11. Temple. Oscar Robert 1 of the area, Black Chrysler, California 840 Grand Charles 138 northbound, correction, eastbound mean from South Beach. Occupied by these two, related to 47.
487. What's a 487.
Current 2011 Chrysler local. Copy your eastbound main from South H. Related to 487. Probably 2.
Somebody with a warrant, know that. I got my. Somebody with a warrant. Yeah, we're not even gonna chase that call. I think it was it theft? I think it's theft. Or forgery. What's it called? Embezzlement?
Just subject 815 MLK Quinn. Quinn here, this documentation for Roxy 1998 means of using a knife. 1-4 truck stop. Available. Double net unit control team. Convoy. 9, can you respond to stage 15 and 6 Quinn here, this 815 MLK? No stops expired 2005 BMW expires of 2020 BMW expires of 2020 East Ending approaching Union.
This is somebody with a warrant for a 487. We don't know if this person is going to take off on a high-speed chase. I don't know what should we do, guys. But he's coming towards us. He is on Ming right now, going to Union. Crossing over Ming. Action or chase this call? Let me know now, guys.
7 with the vehicle.
Let me see if he flees.
Yeah, but 233 on channel 1, 233 on channel 1.
See,
Cash one
see, he's gonna pull over. Let me see if they pull over.
233 on channel 1. Casalova, Top Union.
So he did pull over. No chase.
Control 1, use
Yes, 7, did you have the channel?
Control 1, change to 11.
We're going to on the patch for on 1 in unit on Johnson.
Just a high quality stop.
Patch for units on Johnson.
Yeah, we're clear to 33 and channel 1, clear to 33 and channel 1. Envoy, good work. Envoy, good work.
1529.
Control 1, supply 1, clear to 191. DL William 19708. 113,
I'm not gonna lie, man. That's crazy.
Oscar, Brother 1, if you're going to tag 25-905-666.
That is nuts.
113 in route. Oscar, 110.
I was gonna say, Yvonne, what are you working for dinner? What are you making for dinner?
Control, Kurt, 1.
Guess she's making some oysters.
I go. Fall brush fire on that Golden State.
She's making some oysters.
41 or 49 Golden State. Can you show that 30 body with me? And 9 affirmative. 143 on Evan.
Man.
Being at Delphill, 6 Lincoln, Nora William, 383 on a white Chrysler.
Man, they need to put some cameras out here. There's all people, all kinds of dumping all kinds of stuff over here. Shame on them. Wow.
Stop the current 2010 Chrysler. Surely liability is local.
I don't know how they can still live there. So far, we haven't heard anything on this accident. It's probably not bad at all.
Southbound 99, this is North California.
Engine 1, outside fire, 1841 Golden State Avenue. Deputy passerby reporting small bush fire, no further info.
I thought they said Pacheco's. They said Panama, huh?
On unconfirmed probation for 245, 2010 Bowen.
Yeah, it didn't even come on post point either.
Smith standing by at 29.
It's not even on post point. It's probably not even nothing, guys.
One call for you to be a white female, last at St. Adam Charles Yellow for Micah, Mary Ida Charles Adam Henry, in 29.
They dropped this. It's so grown.
Call 3, Lacey, no stop. Negative probation, please don't expired.
Charging, dude.
Oh, you got this one.
Oh, boy. There's no accident here. Oh yeah, it's over there. It's nothing. It's just a little fender bender. That's all it is. Nothing biggie.
1097, able to check the welfare. 305 drive.
Parents are duking it out right now. That's all it is. Ain't nothing.
30 control.
That's why it's not on post point.
Eagle Sam 30 control.
Picking up their kids.
143 Adam 10-8. 143 Adam 10-8.
Right in the parking lot.
Can you 1021, please? Three help you. 273.5 just occurred. Second half still 297, 7518 Bristol Spring Avenue. Second half therapy has been for Gulf Sean, Indian male, black shirt, black pants.
One located copy. You're on the control system. Check the welfare 2704 Marina Court, unit number 3, entity for further. 4 located copy. Paul 3, copy MDC for 930. MDC for 930. Contact code 4 for Met 10, 397. 305, 10 for Met 9, copy. And I copy. So 1 for 2 1. Are you at the bedroom door? Affirmative. Okay, hold there. The window light. Just park.
You were saying?
Inside the roof with the door closed.
I miss my laugh. I'm always laughing.
Sure. From 901 Ming and South Chester.
We can go that. Ming
A
and
price
South.
exchange in route to 1T.
Ming and South.
Tempo will be involving 3 vehicles.
3 vehicles, guys.
Tom 12, 1098 myself, and motor 1 will be around the clock.
Let's roll.
Tom 12, Tempo.
Right. Get this, baby. Pull me at any time, girl. Oh, she coming back too.
Bring it 101.
Playing.
So when you about to add in traffic, I'll move inside the bedroom. I don't know if you or something.
352 reported northbound 19 north of Molester will be around at 3rd. County, crossing of the center divide, northbound 99 north of Mohawk.
Berkman height. Berkman height.
Unreasonable license plates. Come on, man.
North 2, North David 3, MDC for assignment, north 7 copy.
Final stop on Highton River. Highton River.
Fitter to yield. Come on, baby. Come on. Burn rubber.
Cab 13.
Copy 94653, Charles 1 on a Silverado.
Chevrolet local.
Going to Paul 3 on the stop.
Paul 3
on the stop.
243 voice 1.
Down 13, additional plates to be 91048 yellow 1.
We're on our way to an M10T, guys. 3 vehicles involved.
2016 Chevrolet Purple.
Right here in Ming and South H. Well, Ming and just one of those.
Sam 13 copy 902T only.
902T only. Ain't gonna be nothing.
Code 6 with 1 on the intersection of Eastside and California. Okay, copy additional vehicle 7 Adam 87308 on the red Nissan. Tampa.
Baby, you got what I need. Says she's just a friend.
1995 Nissan local. Control 1, 2.1 Adam, traffic stop on a no plate gray Ford Forest sedan, center and 10. Center and 10.
Center and 10th. Cedar and 10th. That makes a lot more sense.
Final stop will be Barlow.
Where?
Center and Barlow.
Barlow. Oh, center. There's not no 10th Street. Yeah. He must have said that wrong.
CBD requested to cancel.
Center and 10th. No, I don't add up. Smoked out, oh boy. If he's on Barlow.
Yeah, check your mics, open mic on channel 1.
Atlantic City's skyline had a major makeover this week as the former Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino was blown up in a controlled demolition. There was even an auction to sell 10 seats for an implosion viewing party at had a major makeover this week. Atlantic City's skyline had a major makeover this week as the former Trump Plaza Hotel and Casino was blown up in a controlled demolition. There was even an auction to sell 10 seats for an implosion viewing party at another space with clear views of the former president's former casino. According to the mayor of Atlantic City, Marty Small, the road to get here was tedious. Trump opened the Plaza Hotel and Casino in 1984. It was one of 3 casinos in Atlantic City with the Trump name.
Amidst great hoopla this week, Donald Trump is opening his $1 billion Taj Mahal Casino in Atlantic City.
The other 2 were the Trump Taj Mahal, which is now the Hard Rock Cafe, and Trump Marina, now the Golden Nugget. Following several bankruptcies, lagging revenue, and rising competition from other resorts, Trump took the casinos public, which shifted the risk to stockholders.
Many small business contractors, small family businesses went belly up when he didn't pay them.
The crumbling and dilapidated Plaza Hotel and Casino eventually closed down in 2014, being bought out by billionaire investor Carl Icahn, who had supported Trump in the 2016 presidential campaign. The building was supposed to come down earlier, but faced many delays. There was an auction in December for the right to press the detonator, but it was canceled after receiving a cease and desist letter from one of Icahn's companies. For the record, the highest bid was $175,000. In its heyday, the Plaza Hotel and Casino was the entertainment hub of Atlantic City. It hosted all the Mike Tyson fights as well as WrestleMania 4 and 5. But it's not clear what will replace the venue, and Icon has yet to release any plans for the future of the site. Mayor Small says the city is hoping it's not another casino.
I'm Amy Goodman. An anti-Donald Trump playbook compiled by the Democratic National Committee is leaked online following this week's report that the Democratic National Committee's computers were breached by hackers. The DNC initially blamed Russian hackers, but on Wednesday, a hacker using the handle Guccifer 2.0 took credit. In the document, Trump's pilloried as a bad businessman and misogynist in chief. Well, instead of devising a dossier on Trump, the DNC could have just encouraged voters to pick up a newspaper and read the facts for themselves. A series of new investigative articles revealed Trump's shady business dealings in Atlantic City, his failure to pay contracted workers over the years, and his decision to partake in what may amount to calculated tax fraud, a felony. We begin by looking at a lengthy article this past weekend in the New York Times detailing how Donald Trump bankrupted his Atlantic City casinos but still earned millions. Reporters Ross Buettner and Charles Bagley write, even as his companies did poorly, Mr. Trump did well. He put up little of his own money, shifted personal debts to the casinos, and collected millions of dollars in salary, bonuses, and other payments. The burden of his failures fell on investors and others who would bet on his business acumen. Their new article is headlined, How Donald Trump Bankrupted His Atlantic City Casinos But Still Earned Millions. Ross Buettner and Charles Bagley, welcome to Democracy Now! Russ, let's begin with you. Talk about what you were most surprised by in this piece, how Trump profited on failed casinos.
It's a good question. I think the most surprising thing to me was the pattern that just repeated over and over again, which is him buying high, mortgaging even higher, and then promising that everything was going to be wonderful. And the inevitable happens that they run out of cash. The casinos can't support the debt that he's put on them.
There are a lot of us Americans who believe that we are going to have trouble someday paying back the interest on our debt because politicians have run up mountains of debt using other people's money. That is, in fact, precisely the way you ran your casinos. You ran up mountains of debt as well as losses using other people's money, and you were forced to file for bankruptcy not once,
I never filed
not
for
twice,
bankruptcy.
4 times, a record 4 times. Why should we trust you
Mr.
to
I'll tell you
manage
why.
the
It's very
finances
simple.
of this nation
I'll tell you.
any differently
I
than you
was
manage
running-
the finances of your casinos?
Charlie, Mr. Trump, I made over $10 billion. I had a casino company. Caesars just filed for bankruptcy. Chris will tell you, it's not Chris's fault either. But almost everybody in Atlantic City is either in trouble or filed for maybe I'll blame Chris.
Well,
but Atlantic City
Mr. Trump
is
also-
a disaster. Wait a minute, Carly. Wait, I'll let you speak. Atlantic City is a disaster, and I did great in Atlantic City. I knew when to get out. My timing was great, and I got a lot of credit for it.
I knew when to get out. My timing was great. Charles Bagley.
Absolutely not. The problems in Atlantic City started in 2006 when Pennsylvania started opening up casinos and siphoning off potential revenue for Atlantic City. But Donald was full bore from 1990 through 2004. And in fact, he was finally ousted from the company because the management didn't want him around anymore.
You write, a close examination of regulatory reviews, court records, and security filings by the New York Times leaves little doubt that Mr. Trump's casino business was a protracted failure, though he now says his casinos were overtaken by the same tidal wave that eventually slammed the seaside city's gambling industry. In reality, he was failing in Atlantic City long before Atlantic City itself was failing. But even as his companies did poorly, Mr. Trump did well. He put up little of his own money, shifted personal debts to the casinos, and collected millions of dollars in salary, bonuses, and other payments. The burden of his failures fell on investors and others who would bet on his business acumen. Russ Buettner, who suffered? Do you tell stories of the people who got hurt in this massive failure in Atlantic City?
Yeah, there were large categories of people, several large categories. One were people who worked on the initial Taj Mahal. That bankruptcy, they really shorted contractors who were actually owed money. They had performed work, they hadn't been paid, and they negotiated very, very small amounts for those people to be paid. We quoted one person in the article whose father almost lost their business, took 30 cents on the dollar for the work he had done on the Taj. The other big categories were bondholders and stockholders. Now, some of those, as Mr. Trump has said, were sophisticated investors who should have been able to look at the balance sheet and see what they were getting into. Others were people who actually had their retirement income invested in these stocks.
Island of Saipan is a remote 12 by 5 miles speck in the Pacific, with sandy beaches, World War II relics, and the most successful casino in all of the Asia Pacific, if not the world, all from temporary tables tucked at the end of a duty-free strip mall. Across the street, Hong Kong-listed Imperial Pacific is building a more permanent $550 million casino resort.
By far, it's going to be the most luxurious hotel and integrated resort in Saipan, for sure.
5 hours from most mainland cities, Saipan is a new choice for Chinese high rollers, perhaps wary of Beijing's corruption crackdown.
As that VIP story gets weaker in Macau, it should pop up. It's like pressing the balloon down. It's going to pop up somewhere else, and that somewhere else in this case is Saipan.
Eye-popping, to say the least. Revenue from the makeshift casino with just 16 VIP tables already generates a reported per-table daily revenue of about $170,000. That's 8 times that of the grandest Macau casinos. VIP bets totaled $13.5 billion in the first half of the year. Industry veterans question how that's even possible. They see a cautionary tale in the Dynasty Casino on the next-door island of Tinian, also American soil, that closed last year after U.S. authorities fined it for violations of anti-money laundering rules. Sources tell Bloomberg the same U.S. Treasury unit is looking into the activities of Imperial Pacific. CEO Mark Brown told Bloomberg he's unaware of any investigation, but says Imperial Pacific is very transparent. "I've heard every question that you have in your mind," Brown said. "All my guys, my friends in Macau say this is bull. It can't be real." But he says they are real bets. "We don't want to do anything to break the law." Brown declined to appear on camera. Brown has corralled some heavy hitters on the board, plus advisors stretching straight to Washington, D.C., including former CIA Director James Woolsey, former FBI Director Louis Freeh, and the former heads of both the Democratic and Republican parties, Ed Rendell and Haley Barbour. Not to mention, Brown learned the gaming business from U.S. President-elect Donald Trump when Brown ran Trump's casinos in Atlantic City. Back in Saipan, the head of the local gaming commission says watchdogs are in place.
This is America. Movement of money we track 1,000%.
Local House Minority Leader Ramon Tebuteb is not convinced. He voted against the casino bill that he says was hurried into law. It granted a single 40-year gaming monopoly to Imperial Pacific.
Very grave concern. I fear our people getting the bad side of this whole deal.
I can guarantee you that the board, the commissioners who sit on this commission are independent. We do not cahoot with the licensee. It would be far-fetched. Yeah, I would have to ask you what type of drugs you're using to come up with that kind of conjecture.
Local proponents say Saipan badly needs the tens of millions of dollars in fees and gaming taxes each year. That includes a replenishment of the island's pension fund that's run dry. Brown says the island is broke. But even the former head of the Retirees Association on Saipan says, from a social perspective, the casino is not worth the wager.
Gambling is just taking money from A and giving it to B. It is not a way to make money.
Scale 1 to 10, 10 being good, I think it's 1.
Bad deal.
Bad deal.
The Imperial Pacific Casino, the first of several planned phases, will deal its first hand early next year. Stephen Engel, Bloomberg News, Saipan.
upcoming trip to Asia. Tomorrow night at 11. Good afternoon, everybody. I apologize for my tardiness today, so let's get right to it. We'll begin today with some scheduling announcements for President Trump's upcoming trip to Asia. Tomorrow night at 11 p.m., the president will depart the White House to fly to Malaysia, where he will arrive on Sunday morning local time. It's a long flight. President Trump will participate in a bilateral meeting with the Prime Minister of Malaysia in the afternoon, and then he will attend the ASEAN Leaders Working Dinner that evening. On Monday morning local time, the president will fly to Tokyo. Tuesday morning local time, President Trump will participate in a bilateral meeting with the new Prime Minister of Japan. On Wednesday morning local time, the president will fly to Busan, where he will participate in a bilateral meeting with the President of the Republic of Korea, deliver keynote remarks at the APEC CEO luncheon, and then participate in a U.S. APEC Leaders Working Dinner. On Thursday morning local time, President Trump will participate in a bilateral meeting with President Xi of the People's Republic of China before departing to return home to Washington, D.C. On Thursday night, upon arrival in Washington, President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will participate in Halloween at the White House, where they will welcome law enforcement, military, and foster families. And I know many of us look forward to that. In other news, we are now on day 23 of the Democrat government shutdown. Senate Democrats have voted 12 separate times now to keep the government closed. Innocent Americans are suffering every day as a result. More than 500,000 civilian federal employees will miss a full paycheck tomorrow. Thousands of small business loans are going unapproved each month. This means almost $4 billion in capital is being withheld from small businesses across the country. The Democrat shutdown is also causing severe impacts at airports across the country. In one single day this week, the FAA had to issue ground stops impacting flights at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport and Hobby Airport. 13,000 air traffic controllers who ensure that we all fly safely are continuing to work without pay. This is egregious and truly sad. Some of them are reportedly being forced to turn to driving for Uber and taking on other second jobs to make ends meet as the Democrats continue to shut down the government. Pilots are calling on Democrats to end this dangerous political game. The president of the Southwest Airlines Pilot Association called for the clean continuing resolution to be passed, saying, quote, "Our air traffic controllers and the broader air traffic system are already operating under immense pressure. A government shutdown only compounds that stress and threatens the efficiency of our skies." The Airline Pilots Association International, which represents more than 80,000 pilots, is sounding the alarm as well. They said this shutdown is undermining our system's safety. Resources are stretched thin, negotiations are delayed, and strain grows daily. With the Thanksgiving holiday approaching, we are nearing the busiest travel period of the entire year, when millions of Americans will go to airports to spend time with their loved ones. Let us be very clear from the White House today. If the Democrats continue to keep the government closed, we fear there will be significant flight delays, disruptions, and cancellations in major airports across the country this holiday season. If Democrats continue to shut down the government, they will also be shutting down American air travel. The White House is in constant communication with the air traffic controllers, with the airline associations, and with them, we urge Democrats to please pass the continuing resolution so we can just end this madness and this chaos and reopen the government. These are very avoidable consequences. The unnecessary pain, unfortunately, does not end there. Funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP, which provides food benefits to low-income families, is beginning to lapse this week in some states. If Democrats continue to hold Americans hostage, there will not be enough funds to provide SNAP benefits for more than 40 million Americans on November 1st. That is next week. Democrats are solely responsible for all of this unnecessary pain. Why are they doing it? To give taxpayer-funded health care benefits to illegal aliens, some of whom are violent criminals. During the 4 years of Joe Biden's administration, the Democrats forced Border Patrol to admit illegal aliens into our country with no legal status and minimal screening. A significant number of these individuals are the worst of the worst criminals: rapists, pedophiles, murderers, and even members of the terrorist watch list. Despite having no legal status, paroled aliens were able to file for work authorization, receive Social Security numbers, and access other benefits like Medicaid that are meant for Americans. Since I've found many in this room to repeatedly deny the reality that Democrats gave Medicaid benefits to illegals, and they continue to seek to do just that, I've brought a few verified examples for you today. These are examples of some of the illegals who received Medicaid benefits under President Biden's leadership, and this is what Democrats are wanting to do. This is why they are continuing to keep the government closed. An illegal alien from Laos was arrested for murder, robbery, and felony possession of a firearm. An illegal alien from Guatemala who was arrested for rape and burglary. An illegal alien from El Salvador who was arrested for strangulation, DUI, and burglary. An illegal alien from Mexico who was arrested for attempted murder. The Democrats' open border policies allowed these threats into our country, and then they provided them with free health care. The president and Republicans, through the One Big Beautiful Bill, implemented a common sense reform to end this fraudulent scheme. But that's why the Democrats are continuing to shut down the federal government. They are trying to reverse this and restore taxpayer-funded health care for illegal aliens like these. Throughout this shutdown, Democrats have said this quiet part out loud. Senator Chuck Schumer, the leader of the caucus that is refusing to open the government, said, quote, "Every day gets better as the shutdown continues." Ask the air traffic controllers if every day is getting better, Senator Schumer, and they will tell you absolutely not. House Democrat Catherine Clark said, "There are going to be families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility seriously, but this is one of the few leverage points that we have." Here is a House Democrat who is admitting that they are using Americans who are suffering as political leverage. And Senator Bernie Sanders said, "If you reopen the government, we lose our leverage." This is pure partisan games. A senior Democrat aide said the party will not end the shutdown, quote, "short of planes falling out of the sky." That is truly a disturbing statement. The Democrats clearly don't care about this suffering. They care about playing political games against President Trump, and this dangerous charade needs to end. The president and Republicans' position has been clear and unchanged. Pass a clean, nonpartisan funding bill to reopen the government. And then we can talk about all of the partisan issues that the Democrats wish to. If you're watching at home, we urge you to call your Democrat senators and tell them to put our country over their party and reopen the government today. Here in our new media seat, we have Brittany Gibson of Axios. Brittany, why don't you start us off for our Q&A today? Thank you for being here.
Two questions, if I may, Caroline. First is, we understand that the president and Republicans will not negotiate on ACA extensions until the government reopens. If and when that happens, what does the president think should be, or what are his plans for preventing rising healthcare costs for Americans?
It's a very good question, and I'll leave that to the president to negotiate that when Democrats vote to reopen the government. When it comes to lowering healthcare costs, the president is deeply committed to this. It's why he has spent so much time and effort negotiating with Big Pharma to lower the healthcare costs of prescription drugs. All of you have been in the Oval Office for multiple different announcements. We've had these most favored nations deals with these large pharmaceutical companies committing to lowering drug costs in this country. So it's something the president wants to do. And Brittany, one more point. I'll just point out the irony in Democrats holding the government and the American public hostage over a healthcare system that they created. The healthcare system was called Obamacare. Why? Because Democrats and President Obama implemented. And Republicans have always said it's a broken system, yes, but they caused it, and now they want to shut down the government to fix it. We need to open the government, and then we can have these very important conversations about healthcare.
The second, on H-1Bs and foreign students, during the campaign, President Trump said he wanted to make it easier for foreign students to work at U.S. companies, staple a green card to every diploma. But the changes from several agencies now on H-1Bs are adding more obstacles to that. The administration is being sued over those changes. Can you explain the changes in the president's thinking on H-1Bs?
The administration will fight these lawsuits in court. The president's main priority has always been to put American workers first and also to strengthen our visa system. We know for far too long the H-1B visa system has been spammed with fraud, basically, and that's driven down American wages. So the president wants to refine this system, which is part of the reason he implemented these new policies. These actions are lawful, they are necessary, and we'll continue to fight this battle in court. Garrett.
Two questions on different topics, if you'll
Sure.
indulge me. On the pardon of Changpeng Zhao, and apologies if I'm mispronouncing that name, Binance has significant business interests with World Liberty Financial, the president's family's crypto company. How do you respond to the allegations from Democrats that this is a corrupt act?
I would respond and say the president is exercising his constitutional authority to grant clemency requests. And the president and the White House have a very thorough examination of every pardon request that comes to the president's desk. It is thoroughly reviewed by the White House Counsel Office, and I spoke with our great White House counsel about the pardon after it happened. This was an overly prosecuted case by the Biden administration. Even the judge in the case admitted that the Biden administration was pursuing a egregious over-sentencing of this individual, and the previous administration was very hostile to the cryptocurrency industry. So the president wants to correct this overreach of the Biden administration's misjustice, and he exercised his constitutional authority to do so. And to the Democrats, I would just say there's nothing more corrupt than what President Biden did on his way out the door, pardoning his extremely corrupt son and many of his associates.
On the ballroom, the first of which will probably be several questions about this today, I imagine.
Is it a big story?
It seems that way. The president's cost estimate has changed several times. I think it's up to $300 million now. Given the nature of all this, will the White House commit to releasing all of the donors and how much they're spending and how much of his own money the president is putting on the line to this?
We have released the full list of donors thus far. Perhaps there will be more people who want to generously contribute to this project. And the president, yes, has committed his own resources. And when he releases that information, which I'm very confident he will, you will all see that.
We'll see a dollar figure from the president?
Yes, he will. And I would also just add the president has been incredibly transparent. I would reject any notion otherwise when it comes to this ballroom project. It's something he personally has obviously taken an interest into and has talked with all of you in this room many times about. You have seen the model in the Oval Office. Last night he showed that for you. But when this plan was presented and when these renderings, as soon as they were complete, the president directed me to come out here and to share them with all of you. I did an entire opening remarks about what this ballroom project was going to look like. With any construction project, there are changes over time as you assess what the project is going to look like, and we'll continue to keep you apprised of all of those changes, but just trust the process. This is going to be a magnificent addition to the White House for many years to come, and it's not costing the taxpayers anything. The president is privately funding this ballroom addition to the White House grounds. Jennifer.
To follow up on that, one thing that's not in the president's model is the East Wing bunker, the president's emergency operations center. Can you say if his update, that $300 million, does that include the cost for upgrading that bunker?
Look, like any security enhancements that are made on the White House grounds, those will be made and maintained by United States Secret Service. As for the cost of the ballroom and the construction itself, all of that is going to be, like I've said, privately funded and paid for by the president himself and many generous patriots who have stepped up.
Included in that funding? Correct. Okay, and then can you say, well, that's right, I'll skip that one.
Thanks. Okay.
So the White House has explained that the reason you didn't submit construction plans to the NCPC is because that commission, along with others, don't have oversight over demolitions, but only over construction. And so far, you haven't built anything. So can you help us understand, can the president tear down anything he wants without oversight? Could he demolish this building or, say, the Jefferson Memorial?
So it's not the president who came up with that legal opinion himself. That's a legal opinion that's been held by the NCPC for many years. It's written, so we can get you that background and that research if you wish to include it in your reporting, because it is very important. They have ruled consistently, their general counsel has said, when it comes to phase one of this project, the tearing down of the current East Wing structure, a submission is not required legally for that. Only for vertical construction will a submission be required, and that's a legal opinion from them, and we are following that legal opinion. And again, I would just add, can any president do such a thing to the White House grounds? There have been many presidents in the past who have made their mark on this beautiful White House complex. This briefing room, as you all know, was not once a briefing room. It was a swimming pool. There have been presidents who have completely torn down the executive mansion. If you look at what President Truman did, some of the photos of the construction project that took place in those years, I think sitting here today, we're all grateful for those efforts and the modifications that happened at that time. And again, in due time, the East Wing is going to be more beautiful and modern than ever before. And in addition, there will be a big, beautiful ballroom that can hold big parties and state visits for generations to come.
So it sounds like the answer is yes, he can tear down whatever he wants. And then secondly,
that's not what we're saying. That's a legal opinion that's been held for many years. And
interpreting it.
No, it's something that presidents have done for years and years. In fact, I have some photos here. Thank you, Pat, to show you the construction that's taken place on the White House grounds. This is the construction of the West Wing in 1902. Look at this, the construction of the West Terrace in 1902. These images look quite similar to what you and the American people are seeing today, the construction of the East Terrace as well. Look at the construction of the West Wing expansion in 1934. So look, this is a legal opinion that's been held for many years. Look at, this is 1950.
Yes,
it looks a lot like what you were seeing today.
Can he demolish anything he wants?
What do you think that
oversight?
rubble is? How did that rubble get there?
Right, so I'm asking, and then back to the donors.
Go ahead, Reagan.
Many of them are...
Two
Reagan,
questions
go
for you,
ahead.
one on immigration and another on Venezuela. It's being reported that the semi-truck driver suspected of killing 3 people in a DUI crash is an illegal immigrant who came in under the Biden administration. Do you know if California gave him a commercial driver's license? And then it also appears that California largely has not been cooperating with English proficiency standards. I'm wondering if the administration has any further plans to punish the state.
Yes, I can confirm that California gave this individual a license, and it is something that the Department of Transportation has already looked into. I know Secretary Duffy, who's doing a phenomenal job, has spoken on this many times in the crackdown that the Department of Transportation is taking on these licenses that are wrongfully being issued to people who clearly do not deserve to uphold these positions. As for this case in California, on October 22nd, ICE lodged an immigration detainer for this individual following his arrest by local authorities in California on charges, as you know, of manslaughter while intoxicated and driving under the influence. He killed 3 people, and he first entered the United States in 2022 through the southern border, and he was released into our country by the previous administration. So now ICE has lodged a separate detainer for this individual, and these tragedies are following a disturbing pattern of these criminal illegal aliens being issued commercial vehicle licenses. And so yes, the Department of Transportation is absolutely cracking down on that. I defer you to them for any specifics.
Venezuela, President Trump has said Maduro doesn't want to mess with the United States, and this administration is continuing to position more military assets towards Venezuela. I'm wondering if the end goal of this narco-terrorist war is to implement a regime change in Venezuela.
The president has spoken on that, Reagan, and I certainly won't get ahead of him. What we've made very clear is that this administration is not going to tolerate international narco-terrorist organizations from trafficking drugs into the United States. And these cartels over time have grown more armed, well-organized, and violent. They have financial means, sophistication, and capabilities needed to operate in the way this administration has. And they have illegally caused the deaths of tens of thousands of American citizens each year. So that's where we are right now with respect to Venezuela, but also any country that is sending purposefully illegal narco-terrorists to the United States of America to bring illegal drugs. Why don't we go in the back?
The U.S. and Colombia relationship right now is at one of its lowest points in decades. We heard what President Gustavo Petro had to say about President Trump. We heard yesterday the response from President Trump. Is there any kind of compromises or gestures from the Colombian president that President Trump would like to see in order to de-escalate the tensions? Is it possible a de-escalation?
I don't think we're seeing de-escalation from the unhinged leader of Colombia right now, and I don't think the president, frankly, is interested in that at this point. He spoke on this yesterday, and I don't have anything to add to his comments. Go ahead. Yes.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
In addition to the ballroom and the rose garden
I'm going
patio,
into the back. Sorry. Go ahead.
in addition to the ballroom and the rose garden patio, is the president looking at any other renovations or significant kind of projects here at the White House?
Not to my knowledge, no. But he's a builder at heart, clearly, and so his heart and his mind is always churning about how to improve things here on the White House grounds. But at this moment in time, of course, the ballroom is really the president's main priority. Kristen.
Last week, President Trump announced that he had a productive call with Vladimir Putin. They scheduled a meeting in Hungary. Since then, he has canceled the meeting and he has imposed sanctions on Russian oil companies. Can you talk about what changed that led to this dramatic shift, or even just what occurred in the last week that got us from point A to point B?
Sure. Look, the president has always maintained that he would implement sanctions on Russia when he felt it was appropriate and necessary. And yesterday was that day. I think the president has also long expressed his frustration with Vladimir Putin and, frankly, both sides of this war. And he's always said in order to negotiate a good peace deal, both sides need to be interested in a good peace deal. And he feels as though, unfortunately, from the Russian side as of late, he has not seen enough interest and enough action in terms of moving the ball forward towards peace. And so a meeting between these two leaders is not completely off the table. I think the president and the entire administration hopes that one day that can happen again, but we want to make sure that there's a tangible, positive outcome out of that meeting, and that it's a good use of the president's time. Of course, he's traveling to Asia next week. He has a number of events coming up here on the home front as well. He's been incredibly busy, as you all know. You're all tired from covering him and his movements every day, and so we want to make sure it's a good use of the president's time, and the president doesn't want to waste his time, and he said that.
All between the Secretary of State and Lavrov that led President Trump to believe that President Putin or the Russians did not want a peace deal.
That was not the sole reason, no. I think the Secretary Rubio felt that was actually a productive call. But again, the president wants to make sure that a meeting between himself and President Putin will be a good use of his time.
What exactly led to President Trump not believing, after his call on Thursday, where he said he did think he wanted peace and wanted a peace deal, to believing that Russians were not?
Again, the president wants to see action, not just talk. And I think the president is extremely motivated by the success of his peace deal in the Middle East to get things done. And he wants this war to come to an end. He's been saying it now for 9 months being in office, and he's grown increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress from both sides of this war. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. Two quick construction questions, if I can. You mentioned any construction project comes with changes. The president had initially said that this project wouldn't interfere with or touch the current structure. Now he says to do this properly, he realized that the East Wing had to be demolished. This is the people's house. Why not inform the public of that change and when it was decided that the East Wing would have to be demolished?
Look, again, with any construction project, changes come, and we have informed all of you. We've been keeping you apprised of this project. We've shown you the renderings, and if you look at the renderings, it's very clear the East Wing was going to be modernized. Instead, in fact, I said that in the briefing when we initially introduced this plan to all of you and to the public.
But modernized and tearing down are two different things.
Well, again, the plans changed when the president heard counsel from the architects and the construction companies who said that in order for this East Wing to be modern and beautiful for many, many years to come, for it to be a truly strong and stable structure, this phase one that we're now in was necessary. And the president wants to do right by the people's house. And so that's exactly what he's doing. It's going to be, again, like I said, much more stable, strong, secure, and more beautiful than ever once it's complete.
And the First Lady's offices, where will those be? The First Lady's offices, the Social Secretary's office?
In the East Wing.
They will be back where they were?
Yes.
Thank you. Cattle ranchers who supported the president's election have raised some concerns about plans to import heath from Argentina. How will the Trump administration support those farmers?
Look, the president hears those concerns. He addressed them yesterday himself. President loves our ranchers, and our ranchers love our president. And in fact, the president did a lot for them in his first term here. They are struggling because of the many horrible policies of the previous administration. The president loves our ranchers, and he also loves American consumers, and he wants to do right by both. So the immediate solution to the problem of the rising cost of beef, the president wants to bring that down, is we have to to increase our supply. And so that's what he's doing with respect to these imports. But the president also is looking out for our ranchers with a long-term plan that was released by the Secretary of Agriculture yesterday. It's a 3-part plan. It's very extensive and detailed. I would encourage all of you to read through it. But there's really 3 points to this plan that the president has agreed upon and has entrusted Secretary Rollins to implement. Number 1, strengthening U.S. cattle production through increased grazing access, endangered species reforms, enhanced disaster relief, increased access to capital, and reducing costs for new and young ranchers. We want to incentivize more Americans to get into this noble profession. Lowering long-term costs by cutting inspection costs, increasing market options for consumers with product of USA labeling, and ensuring consumers know that they are eating American beef. It's a good incentive for the American consumer. And lastly, growing the domestic herd while boosting long-term demand to reduce prices for consumers while growing the markets for our ranchers. So President hears them. He has to address both of these problems for the ranchers, but also for the American consumer. He promised to lower costs, and that's what he's committed to doing.
Caroline, thank you. 2 questions not on the ballroom. The first is, there's a Democrat in Texas who's actually running for Congress who said last night during an interview when talking about fighting Republicans and this administration, quote, "If you hit me in my face, I'm not going to punch you back in your face. I'm going to go across your neck." This has obviously really upset those folks over at Turning Point USA after the Charlie Kirk assassination. Just your response to that kind of rhetoric.
Just very jarring rhetoric, and I think it's very unacceptable. I hope the people of Texas will do the right thing and reject this person's candidacy. It should have no place in American politics.
And then just a quick second question on oversight Democrats that are saying that they're creating this master ICE tracker, basically tracking all ICE activity. We've seen the protests in New York just yesterday. Homeland Security is saying that this sounds like obstruction of justice. What do you say?
Again, this is actively putting the lives of our ICE agents at risk. We've seen media outlets, in fact, in this room, also write stories about ICE tracker apps that Democrats and other left-wing activists have created to track the location of ICE agents on the ground in our communities. Again, I've said this repeatedly and I will continue to say it. The men and women of ICE are outstanding people. I wish a Democrat on Capitol Hill would actually have the courage or the guts to stand up to their party and sit down with some of these men and women who are doing this incredibly difficult job of enforcing our federal immigration laws. They are, again, simply trying to enforce the law and do their jobs. And if Democrats spent a little bit more time understanding that and also focusing on the people who they are trying to get out of our country every single day. As I spoke about earlier, 3 innocent people in California are dead because an illegal alien who Democrats let into this country was wrongfully issued a trucker's driving license and clearly was not fit for the job because he was driving intoxicated and killed 3 innocent people. Democrats should focus a little bit more on that. Stop trying to fight this president and this administration on every turn and restore law and order. That's all that we and these brave men and women of ICE are trying to do. Mary.
Thanks, Caroline. I have 2 questions, one on San Francisco and one on the No Kings protesters. On San Francisco, the president said that he had a call with the mayor and he was planning on surging there, but now because the mayor really wants to fix it up himself, they're going to do that. Is this what Trump hopes happens in pretty much every city?
The president hopes, and I've said this so many times, and I think the president's conversation with the San Francisco mayor last night and his statement today prove the president is willing to work with anyone across the aisle, across the country, to do the right thing and clean up America's cities. He is genuinely interested in this effort to make our streets safer, to make our cities safe and clean again. And he heard from the mayor last night who told him that he is going to earnestly try to make his city better on his own. The president heard him out. He said, okay, I'll give you a chance. We'll be watching, and if you need us, we are here. And if I feel as though you continue to fail your citizens, the federal government may have to step in. But we'll continue to watch San Francisco, and that law enforcement operation has now been paused.
Thank you. And then on the No Kings protesters, I saw videos of people explicitly calling for violence against Stephen Miller, against the president, shirts saying we don't have enough assassins, calling for more political violence. Does the president want to see arrests here, and are we going to see arrests of these types of explicit calls to violence?
I would think myself, the president, and everyone here at the White House certainly hopes that anyone who is making violent and illegal threats in that way against public officials will be arrested and prosecuted. Sure.
Thank you. 2 questions. Would the president support the Senate ending the legislative filibuster to end the shutdown?
This is something I haven't heard the president talk about much, so I don't want to speak on him for it. I'll let him answer that question himself.
And do you have an update on the NASA administrator nominee? Do you plan to nominate anyone soon? Or does the president nominate anyone soon?
I'll leave that to the president himself. He'll make a decision in due time, and when he does, you will hear directly from him, as you always do. Back, we'll give our friends in the back a chance. Yes.
As you mentioned at the top of the briefing, USDA has warned that it will run out of funds to pay full SNAP benefits next month if the shutdown continues. Senator Hawley is floating a bill that would ensure SNAP benefits are continued to pay during the shutdown. Would the president support such a move? And you also announced that the administration was using tariff revenue to keep WIC going during the shutdown. How long will that last? And is anything similar being considered for SNAP?
Yes, the administration would absolutely support that legislation. We hope that it would come over the finish line, but the bill that will get everyone paid and put everyone back to work is the clean continuing resolution. That's what the president and Republicans want to see. Ed, go ahead, Ed.
Thanks, Carolyn. On the Russian sanctions again, how much pressure do you think this sanctioning these two Russian companies actually puts on President Putin? Because the last administration sanctioned two other oil companies. So how much economic pressure is this really?
A lot. If you read the sanctions and look at them, they're pretty hefty. And I saw some international news out of China this morning that they're scaling back oil purchases from Russia. We know India has done the same at the request of the president. The president has also pushed European countries, our allies, to please stop their purchases of Russian oil as well. So it's full court press for sure, and we expect that these sanctions are going to do harm, as the Secretary of Treasury said yesterday.
Could there be more? Is this just the first step, or could there be more sanctions?
I'll leave that to the president to decide. Sure.
Video or heard the NBA gambling, involved in the gambling issue there. Does the president gamble? What does he think about that?
You know, I'm not sure. I don't think he does. I've been with him quite some time, and I have not seen him gamble before. I don't think he's a big gambler, but you can ask him yourself for next time you have a chance to, Ed. Go ahead.
Thank you, Carolyn. I've got two
Hi,
quick
Jake,
questions.
and then we'll go to you. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Two quick questions. Back to the ballroom. It is a very spectacular ballroom, according
Thank
to the
you.
renderings. And if it's half as nice as the one in Mar-a-Lago, then future presidents are really going to appreciate it.
They will. Thank you, Jake.
First of all, is there like an official name? Like, are we calling it the Trump Ballroom, or does the president have a vision for what the name for the ballroom is going to be?
There will be an official name. I will let the president announce that once he firmly decides on it.
Question is, looking at these renderings, and it kind of got me thinking, he's likely going to go down as the greatest builder of this era, and you've been in on a lot of those meetings with him. Has, to your knowledge, has the subject of rebuilding the Holy Temple in Jerusalem come up?
It has not. No. It has not. I don't. I'm sorry, Jake. Go ahead.
Caroline, on the CC pardon, could this clear the way for Binance to resume U.S. operations?
I won't get ahead of that. That's something for Treasury or the Departments of Commerce to comment on, so you're welcome to ask them.
And then one follow-up question. Any more details on the president's Walter Reed visit? The readout from his doctor mentioned advanced imaging. What procedure was he referring to?
Advanced imaging is something that presidents receive and people receive when they go to the doctor, and so we provide a detailed readout of that physical, and I would encourage you back to that. Presidents and I don't know the exact imaging that took place, but as the physician's note said, the president is in incredibly good shape, and I think that's evidenced here every single day. Danny.
Thanks, Caroline. Back to the ballroom, I'm afraid. I just wanted to ask, because in July the White House said that it would cost $200 million. Yesterday the president said $300 million. Is $300 million now the operative figure, and why did it go up by so much?
$300 million is the figure, and again, it's not going to cost the taxpayers a dime. So we look forward to this project continuing, and we will continue to keep everyone apprised on it. Perhaps the president will even bring you all out to see it one day at the appropriate time. You're also going to hear from the president directly in about an hour. He's hosting an event with the Homeland Security Task Force. This was a newly created federal task force that the president and his law enforcement team have put together. I would encourage you all to tune in to the remarks. They have really done a tremendous job at refocusing how federal law enforcement and local law enforcement work together. There will be some local sheriffs and law enforcement officials in attendance as well, and they'll be talking about the success and the many arrests they have made of drug traffickers and cartel members all across the country by just simply working together. So we will see you at the event. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Caroline.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Echo 8, can you add me to the on-duty request? So far.
Assault, family assault, driving while intoxicated, folks, stepfather, assault with bodily injury while married, DUI, assault, criminal trespass, evading arrest and detention. That would be the stepfather, the one that set up the GoFundMe. You can look it up yourself. So again, we'll go back to kind of like the timeline here. Seems like the family said that they left the house on Saturday night and they claimed that he was jogging. He went out for a jog and they came home and just assumed that he was in the house. And then they went up to check on him in his room on Sunday morning and he wasn't there. Jamie Cook, going back to Jamie Cook, if you're still in the chat, says, can we see if the stepdad has a history with the laws? Well, unfortunately, he does. And serious charges. I don't know the story. I don't know what's going on. That just, oh, they're taking down the crime scene tape. They're taking down the crime scene tape. I don't know, folks. We're going to have to follow up on this story. People are like, super suspect. Crazy. We're going to have to follow up on this one. Straight up. Crazy. Oh, they ended the feed. I don't have any other information here, but whoa, folks. We'll wait for a police update. Could be just was, you know, something happened. You know, natural causes. Interesting. All right, folks. Breaking news, true crime 24/7, 365. Will this be a true crime case? We'll see. We'll follow up. Anything else breaks, you'll hear it here on JLR Investigates. Let me know what you think. Body found, I-35, missing teen. Interesting. All right, we'll talk soon. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.
Everybody should be praised for that. Those protests were a model for First Amendment exercise in the United States.
Speaking of the protests over the weekend, as you say, millions of Americans came out, the vast majority peaceful, old, young, all of that. However, Speaker Johnson displayed some of the signs that we saw, which did seem to indicate violence. One of them showing in effigy a picture of President Trump being hanged. Also, we've seen video of people saying that, for example, 8647 to them meant that they did want the president killed. How do you respond to those on the left using that kind of rhetoric?
We've continued to make clear in this country that political violence directed at anyone at any time for any reason, wherever it emanates from, is unacceptable. Democrats have made that clear. We don't see that coming from Republicans on the other side. We don't see that type of unequivocal denunciation. In fact, they've described the January 6th hate rally as Mardi Gras, as a normal tourist visit, as a parade, as a celebration, and then they pardon hundreds of violent people and unleash them back in communities across the United States of America. This group of people, these extremists on the other side, they have zero credibility, zero, on the issue of political violence. And these Republicans, they are not the party of law and order. They're the party of lawlessness and disorder in all of the ways, including the ongoing crime scene at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, which is running the largest pay-to-play scheme in the history of the country in real time. And we hear nothing but crickets from Mike Johnson and the other side of the aisle. Get lost with your denunciations. The No Kings protest was peaceful, it was powerful, and it was patriotic. Millions of people, more than 7 million people. And so I've got no time for these people on the other side of the aisle.
Are you worried about rhetoric on the left?
We have continued to denounce political violence wherever it emanates from. It would be nice to see that type of denunciation coming from Republicans. Adelita, you want to say anything?
I think that in Arizona, we know very well what political violence looks like. Former Representative Gabby Giffords was shot while she was doing a Congress on Your Corner event. I think that what needs to be done is complete condemnation of any violence. And when you think about when we've all served locally, right? We all want to encourage people to get involved in our political system. The best representatives are those that are homegrown and are motivated to do this kind of service, like a public servant and servant leadership. And when we are faced with violence and attacks, it doesn't matter how strong people look on the outside, it shakes you on the inside. There is absolutely no reason why Leader Jeffrey's family should be concerned about his safety. Nobody should have to deal with that kind of hate and violence on a regular basis. And so we can nitpick all of the little details, but fundamentally, this is not okay and this is not normal. It's not. And when you have a president who is giving away $40 billion of our tax money to a foreign entity and not taking care of what's going on at home, but also, by the way, enriching themselves, I think that that's a conversation we should be having. But when we talk about signs here and there, and I mean, I was in Tucson, it is beautiful. There are like 4,000 people there, all walks of life, all ages. The vast majority had never gone to a protest before. That's pretty cool. And I think what that shows, and it's an indication of the general unhappiness and displeasure of the American people in this administration.
Michael.
We're 2 weeks away from 3 important elections: California 50, New Jersey's gubernatorial election, Virginia's gubernatorial election. I'm curious to know if you think those 3 elections will they be a signal to kind of where the Democratic Party is headed as we go into 2026? Just how are you thinking about those elections? I know you've had varying degrees of activity in each of those. Just want to get your general thoughts.
It will be a signal about where the country is headed in the midst of dealing with the national nightmare that is the Trump administration and the Republican sycophants in the House and the Senate who are embracing all of this extremism. That's what the New Jersey gubernatorial election is going to represent. That's what the Virginia gubernatorial election is going to represent. And that's what Prop 50 in California is going to represent. And we're going to win. In California, I was there all weekend. We're going to win in California, stop Trump from stealing the election by rigging congressional maps all across the country, and we're just getting started in California. Remember I said this, just getting started in California. And we're going to win in Virginia, and we're going to win in New Jersey, because the American people are fed up that Republicans would rather spend time on vacation on the golf course, give $40 billion to a foreign entity, and can't find resources to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits days away from November 1st and the open enrollment period. That's who these people are right now. And that's why Democrats are fighting hard across the country, every day, every week, every month, this year, next year, until we get to the midterm elections and can begin to end the national nightmare that Republicans are visiting on the American people.
Can I ask if you've heard from the Arizona Attorney General about the lawsuit against Speaker Johnson?
I believe that a lawsuit is being filed today. I don't have any other details, but I believe it's happening very soon.
Thank you.
I want to ask about your conversation with Speaker Johnson over the weekend. Did you discuss any changes to the CR or any way to extend the ACA?
It's a private conversation that will remain private. Thanks.
Given the rise of political violence and especially this latest threat against you, should members have increased security? And if so, what is the legislative path forward? Could there be a vote on a standalone bill? Because there was some language in the CR.
Well, Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva said it in such a powerfully eloquent way. But we have a responsibility here in Congress to make sure that everyone can safely do their jobs, particularly in the People's House, because we pride ourselves in this institution as being the entity in the federal government that's closest to the American people, that's out and about with the American people, that reflects the hopes, the dreams, the aspirations, the fears, the concerns, the anxieties, in the words of the framers, the passions of the American people. That's what makes the House so special. And so for members to be able to continue to do their jobs in that regard, we certainly have to increase significantly the amount of safety that is provided. And we continue to work on that. Significant steps have been taken, and more needs to be done. But at the same period of time, what's even more important, in my view, is that we work on issues of importance to the American people. House Democrats are here. We'll be here all week. We were here last week. We were here the week before and the week before that. Ready, willing, and able to do the job, to reopen the government, to address the Republican healthcare crisis, to deal with the fact that America under Donald Trump, including because of his tariffs, has become far too expensive. And the Republicans are doing nothing about it. Literally, these are people, these extremists. I think it was earlier today. They were dining on taxpayer dollars at the White House when they just enacted the largest cut to nutritional assistance in American history. And the consequences of that policy are being felt right now. They literally, Republicans, ripped food out of the mouths of children, hungry seniors, veterans, and family. Why did they do this? To provide massive tax breaks to their billionaire donors. And they made those tax breaks permanent. And now this same group of extremists can't even be bothered to have a conversation about extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits for working class Americans, middle class Americans, and everyday Americans. They are a disgrace. And that's why they're about to lose all across the country 2 weeks from today.
And we should restore all of the health care that's been savagely cut by the Republicans' dreadful, awful bill. And we should swear in our new colleague, and we should move forward with the business of the people. I am very pleased to introduce you to Adelita Grijalva, our most newly elected member of Congress who continues to wait to be sworn in.
Thank you. Thank you. Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. Thank you, Leader Jeffries and Ranking Member Raskin, for the opportunity to speak here. And for, I think this is the 5th time that a member of Congress has tried to get some recognition in order to have me sworn in. Today is day 28 since my election. And I think that it's really important that we appreciate that 812,000 Arizonans do not have representation in Congress. My dad passed away a little over 7 months ago in March. And since that time, the offices were able to provide constituent services. It was the People's Office of Arizona CD7. On September 23rd, those services ended. And so I do not have access to provide services in district. And I think that I also don't have a budget. So this back and forth, coming back and forth, is on my miles that I had stored up because I don't have a budget. I'm not able to open a lease in district. And I think that, the efforts that have been provided to me, and I'm appreciative of the administration's effort, the departments and the administration, they're trying to provide piecemeal solutions to some of the problems that we have. But respectfully, there's so much that cannot be done until I am sworn in. And so every moment that passes that I'm not able to provide constituent services or be a voice for Arizona, I can't bring the issues forward that they sent me here to do. And so while, we're getting a lot of attention for not being sworn in, I'd rather get the attention for doing my job. And I can't do that right now without being sworn in. And it's just notable to continue to mention, there were 2 Republican members that were sworn in less than 24 hours from the date of their special election, April 1st, They were sworn in less than 24 hours, April 2nd, on a pro forma session. It's not unheard of for this speaker to do that. And so I continue to ask for us to have the same opportunity and for the 812,000 people in Arizona that do not have a voice right now to have the opportunity to have me here representing them. Thank you.
Thank you, Adelita. Thank you, Jamie. It's a disgrace that Mike Johnson and Republicans continue to refuse to swear in Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva. It's disrespectful of her. It's disrespectful to the 812,000 people who elected her. It's disrespectful to the great state of Arizona, and it's disrespectful to the House of Representatives, which is supposed to be the people's house, but under Republican leadership has turned into nothing but a rubber stamp for Donald Trump's extreme agenda. Questions?
Leader Jeffrey, when did you receive or learn about the threat against you from Christopher Moynihan, and is it plausible that the speaker hadn't heard about this case before a reporter asked him this morning, since the authorities in New York announced the arrest on Sunday?
Well, that's not clear, and that, is for people to judge the credibility of that response. At the end of the day, here in America, we're living in a moment of extreme political violence. And that impacts every single person in public service and the people that we are all working hard to represent. But we will not be intimidated. We will continue to show up and stand up and speak up for the American people, to improve their quality of life, to address the extremism that is being unleashed on everyday Americans by this administration all across the country. We will not bend. We will not break. We will never bow down. And when it comes to these extremists out there, you better watch how you talk when you talk about me. Next question.
Mr. Leader, good afternoon. Thank you. Is the only way the government can reopen if Donald Trump gets engaged in negotiations?
Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Republicans have the House and have the Senate at the same period of time. They have complete control of government, and they made the decision to shut the government down rather than provide health care to everyday Americans through extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits, while at the same time addressing the other aspects of the Republican healthcare crisis, the biggest crisis in healthcare that we've ever seen in modern day America, brought to us by extreme Republican policies, like the largest cut to Medicaid in American history, triggering the fact that all across the country, hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health centers are closing, including in rural America. It was uncovered yesterday that throughout the state of Alabama, there are about 50 or so hospitals and medical institutions that may close in the next year or two because of Republican policies. Because of Republican policies in states like Georgia, Virginia, and Maryland, healthcare premiums without an extension of the Affordable Care Act tax credits may increase by $2,000 a year. That's $24,000 on families that make an average of $63,000 per year. That's impossible for anyone to sustain. And so, of course, Donald Trump should come to the negotiating table. And Democrats have been very clear that we will sit down with any of them, anytime, any place, here at the Capitol or back at the White House, to reopen the government, to support our hardworking federal employees, to enact a spending agreement that makes life better for the American people, while at the same time decisively addressing the Republican health care crisis that even Marjorie Taylor Greene acknowledges is devastating the American people.
Why do you think he's sitting on the side?
Thanks.
What do you make of it? A person accused of threatening you is the recipient of one of those